from such a decision, which I have undertaken as a party leader of the Democratic Action Party of Kenya. And we have held our management meeting. We have also held our NEC meeting. And we have disagreed with the Right Honorable Raila Odinga and the ODM position. In fact, if you look at my latest tweet on my X account, I've been very clear to the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that you cannot purport to be saving Ruto and his failed regime. In fact, and going to the extent of boasting about it like he did in Kibra, that the GenZs that driven this fellow out of town. Literally, the government was collapsing. They had to come and kneel before me, and I assisted them. Now, who needs assistance? I mean, if you're a Baba or you are a Babu, you are a Guka, your grandchildren are being shot and their brains being blown out on the streets, are they the ones who need assistance, or they're killers? These are young freedom fighters who are fighting to free this country of corruption, free this country of tribalism and impunity. They are fighting for higher ideals. And here you are making deals with their oppressor. So you are either in Kenya today, there are only two sides. You are either with the liberators, the young GenZ liberators, the young millennials and majority of Kenyans who are saying Ruto must go, or you are with Zakayo, and you are saying Ruto must stay. So there are those two sides. And Tony, tonight I can tell you, if you go through my statements, we have not been quiet. Wiper has held its neck. They have dissociated themselves. So has PNU. This is the latest statement we made the other day with Munya. And we've told Raila Odinga and ODM off about this. They are on their own. We are not party to it. Martha Karua is already ahead of us in terms of exiting. So in a coalition, there are exit processes, just like in a marriage. We've already served notice, and we're in the process of divorcing ourselves from a position that has been taken by ODM that we don't agree with. They will go to Zakayo's government on their own. We will stay with the GenZs, the millennials, and majority of Kenyans who come out tomorrow to say Ruto must go. That is where we stand. Those who want to say Ruto must stay, let history be their judge. Thank you.
Our listeners, we thank you for your patience. And thank you for the rebuttal between the two people who know the underbelly of our politics. Dr. Mombi, I have to come back to you before we give our listeners a chance to react to all these statements that we've made, very powerful statements. We have been divided on tribal lines, and the youth right now, as we speak, are being set up to fight one another. If you watch the X Spaces, when the GenZs came, they said tribeless. Now tribes are back. The X Spaces are having people speaking their one language. Tomorrow, I know people who are hiring goons. And all this is based on tribe. React to the question that I asked you, if you remember, and then back to Mizani, then we open the floor.
Thank you so much, Rudemta. And the thing, actually, the beautiful thing about Gen Z is first of all, we have to understand that we're in an information warfare. And we have been led by tribal overlords who could say, me, I can bring these many people from my tribe, me, I can bring these many people. And there is a very slight divide, because remember, Gen Z are actually Kibaki's children. So a lot of them are educated and they're exposed. But then now I think they've targeted a group that is hungry because of engineered poverty to do that too. But what I loved with Gen Z, which you can see from the difference from the propaganda that's being pushed by the politicians right now, is that Gen Z was even using their spaces to explain why we were tribeless, why we were leaderless and everything in their vernacular languages. But it was always just to give more information. But now, and I feel that tribeless thing continues, because as we went tribeless, a lot of Kikuyus even have been speaking about how we've always been portrayed as the ones who have benefited, the ones who are doing this and that. But if you even go to a place like Atundo, which has had two presidents, it's the poorest of the poor. And across Our people have been really, really subjugated. But I think that's all I'll say about that for now.
All right, the tribalist movement might just be taking this country to a different level. But if I ask you, have you seen the same among the political players, or does tribes serve the political lifeline? You remember the other day, the deputy president had a conversation with the nation, but he chose to speak in a language best understood by his followers, and in this case, watu wa Murima. Is that what will be happening tomorrow, or will we be having one nation as a country? Now, I want to open the opportunity to our speakers from the plenary, and as we do that, we'll be requesting you 3 minutes each of submission or questions to our main speakers. Kindly remember, you can only converse in a civic language. No amount of abuse or insult will be used to administer your questions or dissatisfaction. If you do that, unfortunately, we'll have to drop you. Having said that, I want to give the 3 guests right now a quick 3 minutes each to ask or respond to questions that they feel have not been asked so far. We'll start with you, Eugene. What is the biting issue that you see Nane must address? Eugene.
Thank you very much. I think Nane must address this issue, that the right to picket, the right to demonstrate, the right to come out, the right to publicly participate in the decision-making processes that touch on our resources, on our nation, the budgeting process, the finance bill, and the right to disagree and protest does not depend on the generosity of the state. It does not depend on the generosity of William Ruto or Bungei or now Masengeli or Kome, yule alikoma kwa IG wa police. It is guaranteed. It's given to us by the hand of our constitution, and tomorrow we must come out to prove that. There are challenges because there are those who would want to intimidate, who would want to maim and kill, so that they drive you out of your land and you back out. You must also remember that they are still holding over our heads the deployment order of our military. It still hangs over the heads of our citizens like the sword of Damocles. It's meant to intimidate, to deter, and to threaten. In an open, free, democratic society, you cannot deploy the military against your own citizens, particularly not against your own youth, the GenZs that we are seeing. And you cannot do so indefinitely or generally. That order still hangs over our heads. We must demand that William Ruto returns the military back to the barracks. The citizens be allowed on the streets to speak out. And tomorrow, that day, is the day of the citizens of Kenya, and we stand with you, and we're in solidarity with you. Thank you.
In solidarity, you say, Eugene. Thank you for that. Dr. Mumbi, what questions must be answered tomorrow?
There's so many fundamental questions that must be answered, but I think we must look at this thing of information warfare and information terrorism and the intimidation that is happening online from all sides. We've had people from within the movement turn the information against us. We've had a lot of misinformation spread online. We're seeing all the major movements, all the major voices, all the major journalists, the trumpets of the movement being intimidated, being abducted, being looked for left, right, and center. And this should be a clarion call to all Kenyans. There's a famous quote that says, "Today, you're silent today, and then tomorrow you'll be the one that's picked up."
All right, you are silent tomorrow, you might be picked up. Tony, are we foreseeing serious questions being raised and answered tomorrow, possibly to the extent of Bangladesh?
I really thank Eugene for that candid reply for what I had raised. I think that what must be answered tomorrow, it must be the Rubicon. This is the day the opposition parties of Kenya must tell Ruto in no unequivocal terms, and his new partners in ODM, that should you continue killing the innocent Kenyans who are protesting for their rights, should you continue arresting and abducting people without ceremony, with unmarked cars, with policemen without their service numbers, should you continue destroying the constitution of this nation, then we, the opposition parties of this country, will announce a political program that will go across all the 47 counties to anchor the GenZ movement, that it will be hands on deck, all hands on deck, that it can no longer be 26-year-old people being massacred by a president with a military and a despotic police state. And we, the people, these are our children. We must reach a point where we say enough is enough. And we must then say there cannot be any more bloodshed in this nation, and there will not be. William Ruto knows Eugene Wamalwa very well. He knows Tony Gashoka very well. He knows Uhuru Kenyatta very well. He knows Honorable Stephen Kalonzo very well. And he knows when we say no, it is no. And the reason I'm saying this is because the reason these massacres are continuing, the reason an assistant secretary of state of the US can come to this country when there is so many murders, 246 bodies were found in city mortuary alone, and can still smile with Ruto, it is because the political class has accepted the GenZ's request to stay out of it. And I am saying we cannot even listen to our children anymore. The time has now come when their fathers and their grandfathers and their grandmothers and their aunties must join them against Zakayo. So for me, what I want this space to achieve today and what Kenya must achieve tomorrow, it must be the day that must be written in history. The day we said no to Moi must be the day we say no to Zakayo. He must understand that if he does this again, he will pay for it, because we will not rest until we turn this nation like Bangladesh against him. And he will not be dealing with our children, he will be dealing with us.
No more dealing with Tony's children, because Tony is here to protect his heirs, and you will not touch their hair. Redemptor, before we can have now the open floor to our open heat session with the speakers from the plenary, any quick remarks?
Wow, that's profound, and it brings me to step in as a mother and tell you a story, because I'm a storyteller. I have said my child is not going to the streets again. She has been on those streets. And I have a grandson, and he had that conversation, and he said, do you want to get killed? And I want to ask every elected leader in this country, do they want to get killed? So if they don't want to get killed, why do they give these orders? And it was almost bearable when it was the young policemen and the young people. But something horrible happened. The goons were introduced. So it's time to open the floor. I think, Mizani, back to you, and kindly requesting Eugene to switch off your mic. It keeps blipping. And then, Mizani, you have all these requests. I am here because I defend lives, and it is the right of every Kenyan to cry out when they are oppressed. Perhaps the problem is the people in leadership, some of them are my age mates. And in our time, if you beat a child and they cried, you beat them again for crying. And that has to stop. This generation, they know they are right. You can't just beat me for crying. And that's all they are doing. They are crying. We went to university. We didn't get jobs. Some of them are here and they're getting angry with us and saying, you're hogging the space. It's because we are saying, even us, we are saying enough is enough. We want order. And then I saw people justifying, no. The political, if you don't have a plan, and they say they just want good governance. Mizani, people are dying to respond. They want to beat us up. I hope they are coming to support us, but we are ready.
We are very ready. 2 minutes to the top of the hour. And I have Modern here who says ODM should not be in the position. If they want to win, trust Eugene Wamalwa. CEO Olagarich Group of Something here says Raila Odinga isn't the solution that nation needs. The new cabinet secretaries won't clear the mess in this republic. We must stand like the little hummingbird and bring change in Kenya. Peter Njenga here says the day no to Zakayo, and that is the day of reckoning which is happening Starting now, right here on Point Blank, Mwalandi says, why should Wamalwa, beneficiary of this cartel system and part of the problem we are going to the streets, lecture us on anything worth democracy? In his words, there's no sense in it. And I have one more here from, what do these two and politicians, for that matter, have to do with tomorrow? Let's not open as suckers. Focus. Kahuki will be giving you a chance to defend those very serious allegations. We have Peter Jenga who says, actually, I've looked at that. And for now, I'm looking at Senator Chris who says, clear message to hired goons. Tomorrow, it will not be business as usual. Kenyans will not fear you anymore. We'll meet you eye to eye. We are ready until Zakayo resigns, Senator Chris, and that ushers us to the top of the hour. I start with you, Obeds. Good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to the talk. You have 3 minutes to execute your case.
Thank you very much. I might actually not even spend the 3 minutes, but a wonderful opportunity to say that we've come a long way. We've done a good job in the past, like a month ago. And this has shaken the man at the house of the hill. And he is a coward, I'll tell you. He has lost legitimacy to govern, and he thinks with going to bed with the opposition, and particularly Raila Amolo Odinga, he gets legitimacy. He might have some credibility, a bit of it now, and being able to make noise that he is and promising and keep making promises everywhere he goes. But the truth is, his time has come. This is the point. The reality is that Kenyans have been fighting to change things for a long time. We've had false starts, we've had opportunities to change this country, but we keep aborting. We have a wonderful opportunity tomorrow. And, you know, if the pressure that was there on the 25th of June continued in the same way, by now he would have aborted, he would have left. But that said, it is not all lost. There is a wonderful opportunity in the sense that now that it's very clear, the lines have been drawn, the political class is on the other side and the general public is on this other hand. We have to demand for accountability. The public asked a different question. William Ruto, Raila Odinga decided to set their own question and answered it. The people that have been co-opted into government are not the solution that the GenZs were asking for, or Kenyans were asking for, because sometimes I'm careful not to say Gen Z, because we need accountability and proper governance, and it's for all of us Kenyans. Look at where Kenyans go to public hospitals to die, where we have education not working. It's senseless to have people sometimes who have no understanding of what it is to do their job being given responsibilities at the topmost organ of the government, which is the executive. It is a shame. I pray, and I say this without fear or favor, Ruto is on borrowed time. He did not prepare to govern, and it is proven, despite people telling us that we need to give him time to govern, he cannot. He has shown in the 2 years that he has no ability. Anything he has come up with has gone to court and has suffered a defeat, and badly so. We cannot relent, let the pressure be, and remind him that he's on borrowed time. It's the best I can tell him. The sooner he realizes this, the better, because he's papering over cracks and it never seems to be working. He can only either, just throw in the towel because the legislature has been taken captive and he can't do anything. We can't do anything about it. But we keep demanding, let him throw in the towel. Let's have a new dispensation. It's what it's going to be, and that's what I pray for. And for all those going to the street and everybody else, everyone contribute in the smallest and the best way that you can. You don't have to be there physically. You have to give support in every form and in any way. And at the end of the day, what we want is a country that is better governed, a country that is, the political class is accountable to the people, give them a job, and we keep doing that until we win this war. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Obed. I cannot dilute your message. Mizani, kindly, you're the timekeeper. Nobody's going to see your hand. Please have another mechanism. I will invite, I think, Richard first, and then Sergio.
Thank you, Redemption Mizani, for inviting me. at the back of the Nane today, I was actually reflecting and just trying to go through the notes on Daniel Branch's book of Between Hope and Despair, and where we've come, so far as a country, from independence, pre-independence to the time we're actually in. We always seem like we're making steps, and we're almost getting there, as Obed said, but we never really seem to hit the point to actually get the target. And I think with the Nane we presented with an opportunity to reconfigure how this country is. People have called us anarchists and said, we're preparing for anarchy. We cannot have a country, and very senior people in politics, who we've looked forward and up to for many years, saying that, if we have anarchy and the other people take power, I don't want to say who then where we headed to as a people. I think the challenge we have in Kenya is, as Tony Gashoka mentioned of Brutus, we have a Julius Caesar who's refused to, get to the knife of Brutus, and at the end of the day, we have a Napoleon who's refused to meet his Waterloo. That's actually where we are as a people. So again, would the tone of how we are governed and how we go forward as a people change? That's actually the question we are here to answer. And the agitation we are having as young people, and now that we're saying it's Gen Z and not necessarily Gen Z, the focus and energy should be of how we live as a country beyond 2027. Because political alignments are being made in this country, and even witnessing what has been happening in parliament today, the good house has been turned into an animal farm and a circus. I mean, there's nothing to expect, and by now we know whose house it is, and some are fighting to get the bedroom that they've said is theirs for the longest time. So again, looking at where we are as a people and where we are as Kenyans, we are resilient people. We are a people who know where we want to go. But I think this is our opportunity and time to put aside our political differences, our political leanings, our tribal inclinations, and actually jump onto an idea. We've had a person who's been telling us that the politics of this country is going to change and be idea based and not necessarily tribal based. And on that sentiment, I agree with the person who said those very words when they were campaigning. That is President William Ruto. We actually need to gang up around this idea, and we definitely need all hands on deck. I know there is a bit of mistrust within the political class, and Eugene Omala, you'd forgive us if we really have our reservations with politicians, because we know politicians in this country, depending on where the interest lies, sometimes it's hard to tell where we stand up as a people. So I think for me, my clarion call is, if we really and truly believe that we as a people need to change the tone of how politics and governance is done in this country, then this is our moment. And more than ever, and I've said this before, I strongly believe that this country is in dire need of men. Men who cannot be bought or sold, men on their innermost conscience are true to principle as the needle is to the pole, men who would call sin by its rightful name even if the heavens and the earth fall. Those are the kind of men we need, because long are gone the days where people would want to amass political power and wealth around themselves, that you should be damned if you rise above your breath to speak in condemnation of it. And the poor systems we've had since independence, with the small wins we've had, yes, we have a new constitution, but still not feeling the fruits of what we've actually been trying to have. So I think it's a challenge to all of us, and specifically to the political class. This is not a time to be cold and and hot at the same time, like the good book in Revelation says, somebody's gonna spew us out. This is a time where people actually make strong stands. I think Deborah, figuratively speaking, has already left camp. She's made her stand clear, and what are the rest of us waiting for? I think this is not a time to take sides or wait and see. It's actually about people coming out and showing their muscle and what they truly stand for. So if it's Eugene, if it's me, if it's Mizani, all of us should actually really show what we're really made of, and make a stand and not make calculative politics. So without necessarily going deep and pointing out names, I think collectively as a people, we need to really
Makia, your
determine
time
how
is
we need
out.
to move
Your
as a
time is out,
people.
Makia, if you can hear me. Kindly
Sorry,
land in 30 seconds, Max.
Thank you, Mizani. So I think we really should actually come out and stand for what we believe in, and not necessarily keep talking on these spaces for the longest time. Let's truly come out and fight for what is truly ours. Thank you, Mizani and Redemptor.
Asante sana. I was listening to you until you kept saying men, 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 and I was raising my hand. I was like, where are the women? The next speaker, Joe and Mizani, another request. Let's have another system for the bell. Karibu Sir Joe.
I'm afraid I can't hear Joe. Joe, if you're speaking to us, we cannot hear you. We'd love to save on time, so check on your mic and then you can be able to come back on the queue. Redemptor, you want to bring in Anthony probably?
Yes, Anthony. Sorry, Sir Joe, if you hear this, just hold on until I call you out again. Karibu, Anthony. Anthony, unmute your mic.
Okay, we'll come to Anthony if he fixes his problem. I'm sorry, I'm trying to save as much time as possible. We'll love to have our main speakers also delve into the topic. We are giving an opportunity to all the plenary now to make their quick remarks. So if you're here and you get the mic, kindly do the needful on time. I see Sir Joe is unmuting. Can we give him another opportunity? Going once. Kindly check your output sessions. We can't hear you. I'll get you off the speaker for the moment. Do we have Ndegwa? You have a minute. We have 3 minutes, kindly. We don't have Ndegwa. Okay, fine.
He's there, but his request has not been accepted. Sorry, I can see he's still unrequested.
We did accept his request. I think he has an issue with the connection. And kindly pardon us. Some of these things are very technical. We cannot do much about them unless the system responds. So yes, Redemptor, we have some senator here. I don't know if he's one. Ken Babu. Good evening.
Good evening, Mizani.
Wewe ni senator wa wapi? Ama ni jina ya Maringo?
Wewe ni senator wa vijana.
Karibu senator wa vijana. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, my brother. And allow me just chip in from where the previous speakers left and mention that it is we are informed that currently there are some youths that are being set up to fight us tomorrow on the streets. The GenZs that we have insisted that this government and this regime must listen to the people. There's a group that is being mobilized. Like the other time, the last demonstration we had, there is a group that was mobilized at Jivanji, and they were given instruments of war to attack anybody within the CBD. And I can recall very well it ended so bad on some of them, and I think somebody was killed, if not seriously injured. Because when we go to the streets, we know each other, and we can tell who is not one of us, and we can also tell that this group or that group is they have been ferried. So there's a group that is being mobilized now, and I think the government need to operate with a lot of maturity and understand that this is not a war against somebody. It's a war that we are fighting for the entire nation, including the sons and daughters of those who are in the system. And allow me to say that honestly, we didn't go to the street for the last 1 month so that the president can reward political parties and give slots to the cabinets along tribal lines. Some people, I've heard some people say that people from Homa Bay cannot demonstrate against this regime because John Mbadi is now holding treasury, and some are saying that the people from Nyanza should appreciate this government because Nyanza is having treasury for the first time. That's an issue. Honestly, we need serious governance operation so that anybody, whether you have somebody in the cabinet or not, thinks the system can work for everybody. If we are going to say that people from Nyanza should not demonstrate against this regime because some few people are in the government, then what happens to the Turkanas? What happens to those communities without somebody in the cabinet? So those are the questions we are still asking. And then just a quick one to Mheshimiwa Eugene Wamalwa, the party leader of Democratic Action Party. On the streets, we have about 6 million fresh bloods, fresh people who are joining the political space. I think on the issue of establishing and strengthening the opposition, now that the government is so much interested in ensuring that there is no stable opposition, I think the team of there's a new team that is now remaining, that is the DAPK and of course Wiper. We need to come up. You people need to step up and join the GenZs and choreograph a way in which these 6 million or over 6 million young people who are joining the political space for the first time, can be incorporated in the political system on the side that stands with the people. So that when we step out to oppose or to put this government to question, we know that there is backing of those leaders who have seen before, who have gone before, who can also guide. As I finish up, allow me say that enough is enough. It is time that we need to say enough is enough, and we do what need to be done. Our grandfathers and fathers were silenced by the Nyayo regime, but I don't think that we are ready to do that. As we are not ready to be silenced by any regime, because if we are silenced by this regime, then it means that our sons and daughters will have to go through the same problems that our parents went through, and we are now going through. So it is our time. It's either we save our generation and save the generation that comes after us, or this country goes down to the dogs. So that's all I have to say. We are going to the streets. We are not going to sit back and be silenced. Tomorrow will mark.
Okay, Senator, you will not repeat what you already said, right?
Thank
That's
you so
what a
much.
good senator does. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. We do appreciate you coming on and giving us your ideas on what will happen tomorrow. I think out of interest of time now, Redemptor, we're going to engage a little bit further with our main speakers. Guys, don't be wary. We'll be back to you in a few. So we continue with the conversation, the point blank right here on Mizani 254, as we focus on what happens towards Nane and on the day of reckoning, Nane. Dr. Mumbi, looks like no ladies are coming to talk about the issues that are pressing this country, but I see your hand is up. The mic is yours.
I was actually wondering why you guys aren't picking ladies, but I actually wanted to continue on the lines of what the Senator Wavijana was saying, in terms of even here in Mombasa and Kilifi, ever since Joho got appointed. We're being told that now Coast has their first ever cabinet secretary and our issues are over. And you see, these are temporary things. And of course, it's like the politicians are buying themselves time. But there's 2 points I'd like to make before I hand over to the other speakers. One thing that the millennials and Gen Z need to know is, you guys, no one will ever tell you this, but you already have the majority votes. If you go check the IEBC voter register and go see the age groups, you will see that if you were able to get now these ones who are easily brainwashed and to do the necessary civic education, you already have the tyranny of numbers. But there's even more that need to get their voters IDs, voter cards and everything like that. The second thing is, one thing we seem to have we not been paying attention to today is that the children are on holiday. And the security had actually reported a couple of days ago that even that high school children and primary school children were talking about themselves amongst themselves, and they were saying that they are also going to be coming to the streets, whether it means they sneak out or whether it means they come with their parents. And this really makes it changes the entire dynamics of what is going on tomorrow. So I'd really like anyone who's going to speak to remember that even the children are going to be out. And as you're listening to us, where will you be? What role are you going to be playing? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mombi. I know we are supposed to go back to our speakers, but since the mic requests have an issue, African Center, 3 minutes, please, and then I hand back to Mizani.
Thank you. a few points to make. This African Center for Diplomatic Affairs, we deal in human security, peace and peace building as a think tank. Now, one thing I want to challenge us with the number of issues here. First, I must recognize that protest is enshrined in the Constitution and cannot be taken away unless the people themselves go to the referendum and say otherwise. Having said that, tomorrow will come and go. Nane will come, the date will come and eventually end. The day after the day ends, what next? That is a question that if the Kenyan population don't ask themselves, we may find ourselves at the extreme end that would be either too good or too bad. So even to the organizers of the Nane must ask themselves, what will it look like when the day ends tomorrow? Two, I say as things change, the more things change, the more they remain the same. 1982, when Private Ochuka, Ezekiel Ochuka, did lead the coup to overthrow Moi regime, he went to VOK and said the following, that the Wananchi can no longer, that Kenya is corrupt. One of the reasons that they have to overthrow the government is that Kenya is corrupt. Cost of living has gone high and the Wananchi can no longer afford basic needs. That Kenyans are one of the people in the world that are highly taxed. All the issues that Private Ezekiel Chuka did raise then, 42 years later, Kenyans are raising them now. So what really changed or what really didn't change? It means for the last 42 years, no leader made meaningful change to some of these things, because 42 years is good time enough at least to eradicate some of them. Housing was an issue then. It's still an issue now. It is to my belief that the problem is systemic. It's not an individual issue. Today, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa at some time wanted to run for president. He can still run. He can win. But does it mean that he will change things overnight? No. What we accept as a country is to have a way in which we begin to change the system, not the people. So that it doesn't matter who is at the top, but the system is so linear that they have to fit in. They either fit in or ship out within the system. So it is not about an individual, it's about the system. Can we begin to deal with the system? How? Some of our leaders here know better. And I'm happy that the Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, who is here, has served in various capacities in this country, and he knows better what it means when we talk about system being managed to ensure that the country runs smooth with a rogue leader or without a rogue leader in place. And to the next thing, I want to use the war analogy.
Attention, Gordon, your time is almost out. I'll give you an extra 1 minute.
Yes, war analogy. The Gen Z or Gen Zote, in my own opinion, may miss it at the end of it all. Why? As soldiers take over cities as they move, they leave foot soldiers to ensure that the cities or towns they are taking over are not retaken by their enemies. But here we have the demonstrators making things change, but they live without on the ground. Who are the foot soldiers? The negotiation, we should have an alternative to the protest. As the protests continue, which is enshrined in the Constitution, there's a team that should ensure that policies and regulations are put in place so that at the end of it, you've not just won the war in terms of having CSS sent home, in terms of having people changed, but you also have regulations put in place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gordon, and I do appreciate you coming in also, of course, with the issue of the coup that happened in 1982. That is a story that many of us would remember, especially if you are keen to follow the political landscape of the country. Something that many have hinted has destabilized the thinking of the current administration in terms of, was the 25th June and coup attempt, and what were the possible ramifications that come with it? We'll be discussing that. Eugene, Honorable, your name has been mentioned, but let me get first to Dr. Mumbi before we can come to engage with you. Dr. Mumbi, please.
I just wanted to give a quick rebuttal to the gentleman that just spoke. Because there's this idea of changing systems. Does Gen Z know what they're doing, or we should wait till 2027 or everything? And it's the thing about the moving goalposts once again. This thing started with reject finance bill, but when Gen Z went to get a fly, they caught a buffalo. There's a fear that if we don't get Ruto out, there'll be no government left. I was recently talking about how a CS of mining in front of the Senate actually came out and said they were mining Colton, I think in Embu or Meru, and they told guys it was Kogoto. The thievery that is going on in our nation, JKIA is going. And so to say we change the system first, we unfortunately do not have that time, according to my opinion. And we don't have someone in the presidency who is willing to change the system. In fact, him now, because he appears to think he has the tyranny of numbers, he's going to be now trying to change the system to keep him there. There's no goodwill from Ruto to discuss the changes that need to be done. He could have started even by showing some goodwill with his CSs, or even just some empathy for what has happened to the Gen Z and the comrades that have fallen. So there's not the system will have to change while we're in transition, and there should be no fear of this. As we've seen, Bangladesh have successfully removed their prime minister, and now they're even painting their walls and cleaning their streets before they decide the next step. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mumbi. I don't know if my good friend Redemptor, you find some issues a bit confusing here, because we are talking about a generation that wants change, and the generation keeps having different demands. Then it was the CSS that had to step down, then it was Ruto must go. And today, the whole conversation is actually Ruto must go, come Nane. Redemptor, maybe from where you sit, you want to tell us something before you can introduce the next speaker.
Yes, Sajo, I'll give you the mic shortly. I think we are changing the narrative. These young people, of course, have been scuttled off. I have young people in my house, and I've asked them about all these things you're asking, the conflicts, the system being changed. They have never asked for the system to be changed. They said fire, then they were rehired. They said don't amend, reject. It was rejected. And then what happened? Something else happened. We are still seeing the prices of fuel going up. But I think what I have to say as someone who fights for everybody has a right to defend themselves using the constitution is something very drastic happened. The goalpost was not changed. Lives were taken. Young people came to the streets holding flowers and a bottle of water and their phone, and then they were met with bullets. So that was a game changer, not them changing the agenda. Because if we say we want good governance and you keep bringing back through the back door, the very things they have said they don't want, and then they said tribeless, and you went back to the cocoons and started clustering people within those tribes. So before we go to Eugene, who has not muted his mic out this time, Sajo, you have 3 minutes. Please unmute your mic.
Hello, good evening.
Sajo, kindly proceed. Save us some time, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please proceed.
First and foremost is to thank everybody on this forum for being here. Secondly, is to say I'm in Nairobi. I'm not in Kirinyaga. I'm already in Nairobi, ready for tomorrow. Because if we don't do it tomorrow, we don't have another day. If we don't do it tomorrow, we don't have another country. And the politicians who are sponsoring the young men, and the young men, maybe if somebody can be able to get a message to them, why are you being sponsored by somebody who is about to exit? And these people, their greatest fear is they know, especially the MPs are the people sponsoring, not even, leave alone the MCAs, the MPs. If you sponsor and you know you're on your way out, what will that young man see you once you get out of that seat? That young man who is also allowing himself to be sponsored by an MP or a politician, why? It is a time we have crossed that bridge about tribal politics. It is done. Even my very good neighbor from Nyeri County, Rigathi Gachagua, his time in the political bedrooms of Mount Kenya is done. Mount Kenya.
Joe, we cannot hear you.
All right. Pardon us for that. I think that is where we leave Joe at that junction. And welcome once again to the point blank conversation happening right here on Mizani 254. We are more than privileged to have a number of very fashioned speakers, including politicians in their own right, to discuss Nane. And is it the turning point that this country will experience moving forward? Possibly yes, but this by Dr. Mumbe is destiny for this country. I want to bring in Eugene. Eugene, your name has been mentioned. People actually closely watching what you do, what you say, and how you say it. The issue of tribalism has been a bigger conversation within this period where Kenyans have been agitating for better governance. And this is a very significant month, not only for Kenya, but for you at an individual level. And here is why. Listen to this very interesting gentleman.
Our main aim was to build NARC as a strong party that can deliver on our promises to the Kenyan people. Our main aim was not to perpetuate ourselves into small parties, exploiting our ethnic divides to maintain power. I'm speaking very frankly today because I want us to be frank with each other. Not to be clever with each other by playing some cards above the table while hiding dangerous ones below the table.
Eugene, welcome to the talk. I'm sure you recognize this very gallant son of the soil. And as I speak, again, it is a very personal month for you and very significant for the people of Kenya. Are we hiding the cards, the dangerous ones, under the table as you begin?
I think we are, and just listening to my brother Mike speak, I think that was in Nanyuki. It was one of his last and best speeches he made to a coalition he belonged to, a coalition that had started losing support because of not being loyal to the people of Kenya, the manifesto they made and the promises they made. We will be celebrating his 22nd anniversary on 23rd of August. That's the day we lost him. And I think as we remember him, we must also remember what he stood for and try to find our true north in terms of our political bearings. I know that as politicians, we have all sinned and fallen short of the glory. And I know that the citizens are angry and have every reason to be angry because we have seemed to abandon our principles. We have seemed to play politics of expediency rather than doing what is right for the country. And one of the speakers here said he doesn't understand why he can hear Eugene Wamala speaking here tonight in this space and lecturing us on democracy. I think he has every right not to maybe believe what I'm saying, but at least have the patience to also give me the right to speak my mind. And as I said, I speak to you frankly and candidly tonight. I know some of my colleagues in the political side might not be happy with what I'm saying tonight, but this is where we stand. I think we have let the country down, and we put our self-interest above the national interest. And this is a time when we stand to be counted. And I have taken a stand. Those of you who have followed me, even in the coalition, we're parties with different principles, different values, and we have agreed and disagreed, and sometimes agreed to disagree. Like in this matter, what came up at Bomas after the demonstrations, the main issue was the cost of living. Last year, Kenyans couldn't make ends meet when our bottom-up friends came in, and everything went from bottom to up. And they doubled, VAT on fuel from 8% to 16%. This is where the rain started beating us. But when we went to Bomas, you find that what was actually agreed on very quickly was the issue of positions. The prime cabinet secretary's position of the leader of opposition with 2 deputies, more women reps. It was about positions for the political class. And when it came to now signing of the report, when I said, really, people went to the streets and didn't die for Mudavadi to get this position, or Raila to get that position, or Amalo or Kalonzo. They could not make ends meet. Families can't put food on the table. They can't take their children to school. These are the issues, the cost of living. If that is not part of the report, I'll not sign. I disagreed with my colleagues, including my partners in Azimio, but it's because I have my conscience, I have my stand. So even tonight as I speak, it's not that I'm defending the political crime. I'm in class. At the end of the day, we'll stand to be counted, and we must take a stand, including tomorrow. There are those who are saying, don't come out. We've had the Kenya Kwanza leader speak in Embu, saying boycott Nane. Now, those of us who believe in the right to fight tomorrow, and if you have crossed onto that side, it means then you will also be painted with the same brush. Those who don't believe in the democratic rights, constitutional rights that we're exercising tomorrow, if more young people are killed tomorrow, and you are there assisting that side, then it means you will have aided and abated in these atrocities. We've had even the partners in the U.S. First of all, Secretary Blinken himself, a week ago, called and raised concerns. Today, the Undersecretary, we've had Uzra Zea, the U.S. civilian, security and human rights Undersecretary from the U.S. speaking. They're concerned about the abuse of human rights, excessive use of force, the abductions, the killings. It's no longer a local issue. It's an issue that has captured international attention, because what is happening, these are universal principles. It's not just about Kenya. And this is why we're saying we must come out and stand united. Those of us who stand with the GenZs, the millennials, and all Kenyans who are saying Ruto must go, it's because of his. There are those who said that we only need to change the systems. It must start with the people. The people holding office. Under Article 10, unless we have leaders of integrity, leaders who believe in our constitution and constitutionalism, and we have people who have been involved in scandal after scandal, right from the YK 92 days, they cannot change. You cannot teach an old dog new tricks. They have been used to this. When you are hearing about a changing of the currency and printing of new money, it started in the YK 92 days, why inflation went up. When YK 92 came, they printed and printed money. Now, this is starting. under cover of now the comfort of the numbers that they have with their system they have gotten from the opposition, I think this country is going to the dogs. So we must stand together to condemn this. But also, I agree with the speaker who said that we also need to strengthen our institutions. I think it's Obama who said what Africa needs really are not strong men, but strong institutions. So this is one area, even as we fight, key institutions have been captured, the understate capture, parliament has been captured, and that is where we are losing it. And now the opposition has gone into bed with government. We no longer know whether the government is in the opposition or the opposition in government. These are some of the issues. As we go out tomorrow, we must be fighting for the heart and soul of our nation tomorrow. And I stand with you. Thank you.
Okay, I have the next speaker, but I don't know if TG, you want to respond. The mic requests are long, so.
Well, I just want to maybe add my voice to the young people who are preparing this night as the sun will rise to march and to demonstrate their displeasure, that they must know that history is with them, because the greatest battles, the greatest wars have been led by the younger generation. If you look at the Second World War, the First World War, the majority of the battle or the war was fought by 18 to 25-year-old young boys and young men, if I use the word men rather than boys, who stood not only for their country and for the world, but they actually fought for the way of life we now have. If you remember people coming from foreign soils all across the pond or the Atlantic and the Pacific, coming to fight a war on the shores of France at Normandy, those were people who not only give their lives, but give a sense to unity and give a sense to humanity. And that is where the word human right comes from, humanity, the capacity to do what is right for all human beings. And therefore, if we look at tomorrow as a critical part for this new generation, that it is in their struggle, it is through their sacrifice, it is through their resilience that this country has awoken, that this country has brought to knees this government. And what breaks my heart, and I want to tell Eugene this, that what breaks my heart is to see people who are 74 years old, 75 years old, some who have even brothers who are 81 years old, have not had enough. That even after serving this nation and being in power for over 50 years, going to 60 years, even when they are reaching the twilight of their lives, they want to take away from those who are in their 20s, who have the whole of their lives to live for. Why I support the Gen Z movement is because this is their life. This is the country we are leaving them. It's their inheritance. It is theirs to lose, and they feel the pain seen as destroyed. How can men in good conscience, you are 75, 78 years old, you have got more money than you can ever do in your life, and yet you want to stand on the way of the Kenyan people, that you want to go somewhere in Kibra and boast that you've given a favor to Ruto. You have saved him. You have saved Ruto from who? You've saved Ruto from who? From our children. In other words, you are admitting that they had succeeded. They had succeeded in their demonstration and in the revolution. And on the 11th hour, at nearly 80 years of age, you come out to rescue the butcher of Segoy. I don't want to say any more for now.
Tony, I listened to you and I'm in between because one, you seem to be a man on a mission, and the mission is to save Kenya. And that I agree to some extent. It's something that we all must agree to, that wewe unafanya kazi yako. Now, the other day, you put out a tweet, and in your tweet you said, the reason the Almighty God has never allowed Raila Odinga to win an election after 5 attempts in 2022 inclusive is now obvious to me. I'm sorry for ever supporting Raila and ODM, the ODM party. Why the change of tune in your language? Why you suddenly inclining yourself towards Gen Z?
when Raila Odinga was running in the early years, there was a time that the only two Kikuyus who supported him was Tony Gashoka and the late Charles Jonjo. We supported Raila Odinga on the belief that we are standing on an ideological platform for better governance of this nation, and even stood not just one, but 3 elections, even against our own communities. We were ridiculed and abused. How can you go to that guy, Kimudu, they used to call him? How can you stand with that Muganga against your own people? And we sacrificed kwa hali na mali. I even stood, and Eugene can confirm this to you, against my own brother Uhuru Kenyatta, in support of Raila Odinga. And Eugene can confirm this to you himself. And when we stood there, we stood because we believed, like Nelson Mandela, this man stood on the foundation and the integrity of the nation, that he would be able, not only by the years of his detention, but the years of his sacrifice, lead this country to a better place for generations to inherit. But after that, I have seen that in every subsequent election, he has gone and shook the hand and done the deal and left behind all the things which I believed in and I believed he was fighting for. And therefore, I have been an enabler of Raila Odinga. I was director of protocol in his office when he was prime minister. And that is why I feel that I must speak out now. I must say that I'm sorry to this nation, because Raila has not succeeded alone. He has succeeded through people like us who have been his enablers, people who have given
So are you
voice
bitter
to his
that
cause.
with his success, Tony? Are you bitter with his success? You were left out in the cold because this man has gone ahead to take his, what I would call his strong soldiers, and made sure they are in cabinet. And that's the same vibe I'm getting also from Eugene, because if there was a DAP member in that cabinet, will Eugene come out and defend Raila Amolo Odinga, or would he stand for what he believes in, and that is the country called Kenya? I want this to be very clear, Tony.
I want to say this. I am not bitter at all about anything, because actually only people can speak about me. And I'm very happy that the former Minister of Defense is here, because I don't think there's anyone closer to Eugene Wamalwa than Tony Gashoka in Kenya. And I would like you to ask him, he has served 20 years in the cabinet as Minister for Justice, as Minister for Water, as Minister for Devolution, and former Minister for Defense in the Republic of Kenya. I would like you to ask him if I've ever gone to his office any one day and asked him, Eugene, I'm here, give me a contract. Eugene, I'm here, give me a job. He's here. Forget Raila or forget Uhuru. Ask Eugene. If Tony Gashoka doesn't have
Eugene
access,
is here. Let's do this. Let's do this. I hate rumors. Eugene, your friend here wants you to come and speak the truth and nothing but the truth. You have had an opportunity to swear with the Bible, but this, you're not taking an oath. Has Tony Gashoka been a man of integrity, and is the same man you will say we want in this country? From where you sit, you've also served in different governments, including the former government of your friend. And we know that President Uhuru Kenyatta is a very close ally of yours. You have said that the rain started beating us up when the current Kenya Kwanza administration came into power. However, we do know that the other fact, which is ODM and the the ODM party and the other coalitions, were actually on the street against your very government that you served in. Are you not just playing a catch-up kind of game?
First of all, on Tony, my age mate, I think he's a man whose record speaks for itself. Right from his youth, the first time I heard about Tony, I mean, he was out there in the media, a veteran journalist. He was eventually, convicted, and he went before, I think, a 6 or 7 judge bench. Fighting for free media, fighting for democracy. And so Tony's record speaks for itself. He's not a man who's been out for self-gain. He's a man of conviction, and he sacrificed a lot for this country. He qualifies to rank amongst the freedom fighters. I can tell you, having been my friend, there's no single day he said, Eugene, you're a minister for this, give me this deal or give me that tender. And in fact, he's one fellow who tell me, I'm seeing those fellows following you. Those are the wrong guys. They're going to get you in trouble. And we've been able to serve this country in different dockets, and in no single docket would you find Wamalo in this scandal or Malo in that. And we've tried to serve with integrity. My record speaks for itself. And for those of you who are saying, oh, you wanted to run for president, I intend to run for president in 2027. But I've said on this forum, as I did last time, my record speaks for itself. It will be subjected to public scrutiny. And if you do find that Wamalwa is not a man of integrity, he has that scandal, he doesn't qualify, then if there's a better Kenyan to serve, and even if that Kenyan is younger than me, and I've challenged the GenZs, I've said I would be one person who will be ready to support a young presidential candidate, but a person of integrity. Integrity must guide, our choice of leaders and anyone who goes into public service and who has been. Integrity taste must apply, and not what we have seen in Parliament. And I think this was a sham. I mean, can you imagine? Can Junet oversight Joho? These are best of buddies. You could see even when they were doing the questions and signaling each other. It's a real sham. But until we get leaders of integrity in office, and integrity is the guiding, not your tribe, not your region or religion or wherever you come from, that is the day we will succeed. And I would say I would be ready to be judged by my record.
Indeed, and the book of Judges will be there, Redemptor.
Thank you very much, Eugene. Just a disclaimer, we are not endorsing presidential candidates. Ndego Jiro, the advocate. The mic is yours.
Thank you much, Redemptor. Thank you much, Mizani, and the fellow listeners, Waziri Eugene, Tony Gashoka, and I can also see Amos Mwago and Peter Mwadhi, the former member of Parliament for Imuru. I have keenly been listening and following to the submissions that have been made, and I've heard my learned friend, Mr. Wamalo. I heard there is no Mheshimiwa here being put to task to explain whether he has really seen the Damascus moment. I've also heard you submit on the question of Tony Gashoka's commitment, and I can confirm that if there has been somebody who has been consistent, and I'm not putting a good word for him, in pursuit of justice and democracy, is TG. Equally well, Mheshimiwa Wamalo Eugene, he has taken very strong stance that identifies with the struggle. And as you say, we are not putting in a good word for anyone. I think the facts will speak for themselves. What we need to do is to see how tomorrow will unfold. I think tomorrow is just the beginning of the struggle, or part of the face of the struggle. And the struggle may or may not end tomorrow. If it ends tomorrow and William Ruto goes to Sugoi, then we'll be faced with the question of making sure that we form a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And a government that will emulate, or rather a government that will live to the decree or the creed that people have been desiring. Remember, this is a struggle that is premised on the doctrines of accountability, transparency, the rule of law, good governance. That is the question that will face us tomorrow. But I can tell you quite clearly and frankly that we have men and women in this country who fit the bill and Article 10, the question of accountability. We also have the men and women who fit the bill in Chapter 6 of the Constitution. So our commitment must be that tomorrow we must come and show out to the world that there are men and women who are committed and who are focused on making sure that we have good governance in this country. Or unto him if William Ruto decides to respond to our struggle with fire. We shall remind him that our movement is a non-violent movement. We have committed ourselves to non-violence. But it should not take it that our non-violence is a signature of cowardice. We will be committed to making sure we remain within the tenets of non-violence, as long as we are not provoked. If we are unreasonably provoked by goons sponsored by the state, it is then within our democratic rights to defend ourselves. We will not allow goons to attack a non-violent movement, and we allow them to go scot-free. At least the law allows us to have reasonable self-defense. So anybody who is listening to us, and I know the DCI and the NSIS are listening, they better advise them that tomorrow is a day when we are taking our struggle forward, and we'll be committed to making sure we remain within the non-violence principles, but we shall respond with fire to fire, where, as, and when we have been invited to do so. We'll also attempt to respond. If they come with the guns, we'll also come with roses. But as long as they don't fire any provocation from our side. So tomorrow we are marching, and we are marching up to where our democratic rights can be stretched. There is no law that says that we cannot approach any government office
30 seconds,
to
Ndegwa.
present our petitions. So let me just sum up and land and say that tomorrow we are all coming out to the streets, and I commit myself to come to the streets, and we are looking for men and women who will remain strong to the struggle. See you tomorrow, gentlemen. I land there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ndegwa. You are a lawyer. If we have time, I would want to find out if the statements that you've made are not in contradiction with the law. But just give me a minute to give Ian Jomo, followed by Lillian, the only lady who has requested for the mic this far. Ian, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. So
Proceed, please,
first
Ian.
of all, I want to thank you. First of all, I want to start by encouraging people to come out tomorrow. I have been there since day one, and we witnessed people dying while we watched, and we also experienced victory when that controversial finance bill was dropped. But
Sorry,
on
Jomo,
the
you
same
have an
point,
issue with your mic. You keep flipping through. If you can use your handset free, that will save us a lot, please. We would like to hear you audibly.
So, am I clear, or should I come back later? Kindly.
Closer to the mic, please, and proceed.
Okay, thank you. So, as I was saying, about tomorrow, I have another point about it. Both all Ruto, Gachagua, and the police have all spoken about tomorrow. And they've all said that there are goons that are infiltrating peaceful protests that are happening. But I want to ask, maybe I should ask them that, when were there peaceful protests? Because since day one, we've seen police beating us, abducting us, killing us. When was it that there were peaceful protests that they are saying that are being infiltrated? Because since day one, they've been sending goons, they've been sending police to beat us up, to abduct us, to kill us. So they should not speak about GenZs protests are being infiltrated. No, since day one, they've never listened to us. And also the point of Raila, we should not even talk about Raila. He was very clear yesterday. He had a choice whether to save Kenyans or to save Ruto, and he made his choice. He saved Ruto. So Kenyans, we are going to save ourselves, and we'll save ourselves from the hands of Ruto and Raila. And lastly, I want to, before I make my last point, I want to ask Eugene Wamalwa. Last year, 2023, there were protests. There were protests organized by Azimio against the finance bill that is now an act right now. 75 people were killed. And once the government I don't know what happened, but they dropped the demonstrations. 75 people were killed. Did they follow up to know whether those 75 people who were killed, their families got justice, so that we can be sure that they are with us? If people are going to be killed tomorrow, the people that have died already, people like Rex, they're going to get justice. Are they really with us, or are they just opportunists? Finally, I want to say that
Yes, Ian, please land.
let us come out tomorrow. Sasa, come out tomorrow. I'll be there. Let everyone be there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Everyone has a right to exercise their constitutional right without being killed. Anthony, I'll come to you, but let me allow the only lady that has requested for the mic, Lillian, 3 minutes. Lillian, going once. Sorry, Lillian, I give you the mic. I will go to Anthony. Mizani, I don't know if they're hearing me.
Anthony, we can't hear you. I don't know what's happening, but I would like really to push the queue and have some pump happening here. So if you have the mic, proceed. Anthony, do you have the mic with you? All right, check your audio settings and then come back later. I don't know, Dr.
Lillian
Mumbi.
Oh, sorry.
Lot being said here, and I know Redemptor here is trying to be very nice with everyone so that they can speak, but we can only do much. Dr. Mumbi, I would like for you to come in at this level. I know we have really touched on the issue of tribalism and the issue of intentional leadership that to some extent some Kenyans feel the current crop of leaders have not been doing that, including Honorable Wamalwa here, whom mmesema tusimuite mheshimiwa. Mr. Wamalwa has been stating that there's a problem with the current crop of leadership. So what is the way out for these Kenyans who are saying enough of Kenya Kwanza and President Ruto?
You know, if you go online and if you check the Twitter handles, now that it's become more organic, I think before, let me not even go to what was happening before. It is very clear that number one, Ruto must go. Then now there's a series of things, demands that have been made, and collectively Gen Z seem to have agreed on: corruption, transparency. I think the steps are very clear for me, and for others, in terms of once Ruto must go, once Ruto has gone, then we'll be looking at the debt, the public debt audit, all the things we've heard, the sale of JKIA, what's happening there, because there's a lot of information that's been revealed. We'll now look at the size of the counties and reducing the leadership, because as Kenya, we can't afford all these VIPs. It's too expensive. It's too expensive, unrealistic, and they're too arrogant, and anyway, so many things. So there's a lot of things that have already been revealed that will be addressed once this is taken care of. And I really feel it's so sad that at the heart of this thing is stealing of public funds and corruption. And we've not seen any goodwill on really tackling those who have stolen our money, either from government or even from opposition. Thanks.
I don't know, Mumbi, if that's something that I am comfortable discussing at length, because when we talk about Kenyans holding our leaders to account, we have had when the nominee, that is Wycliffe Oparanya, was nominated by President Ruto to go and serve in his cabinet, the Luya community congregated and said, hatutaki kusikia story mingi, huyo ni mwizi wetu, kaende. And we had the EACC objecting, and when they were requested by the DPP's office to drop the allegations, or should I say the case against, they say, hii haiwezekani because we have a big file that is very incriminating. And I would like at this juncture really to engage Eugene and ask him, Eugene, you have served in parliament. you have equally served in the executive, and you are a very seasoned and mature politician. Do we play too much politics with Kenyans' lives and the sovereignty of the people of Kenya as politicians? Shida yenyu huwa nini? Eugene, that is for you. Get the mic, please.
Thank you very much. I think to start with the earlier question about the demos that we held last year as Azmio, we lost about 75 people. And as Azmio, you do recall we had a special service for all the families. And this we did at one of our forums, where we all gathered as leaders with the members of the affected families. We did also extend support to each one of the family, and we were able to give financial support to each family. And also we divided ourselves into groups so that we're able to go to the regions to be able to support the families. In the Western region, I was there with Professor Wajakoya, and we were able to, I think we had about 10 that came from that region, about 3 in Busia, we had about 3 in Vihiga, in Kakamega, in Trans Nzoia, and Bungoma. So we went, we mourned with the families, we supported them. But also, once we stopped the demos to now start the national dialogue, there were interim measures that we agreed on as part of the preconditions to the talks. And that was the release of the protesters and all those who had been picked up because of the demos that had been held. And we had almost all the cases dropped. We know that there were some that were categorized as serious in terms of hooliganism, and it was not clear whether they were protesters or hooligans, and maybe the crimes were more serious. Those we left our lawyers to follow up. We went further than that, apart from availing our lawyers to represent the families, get bail for some. And Wakili Ndegwa here was one of our key lawyers who supported these families, and must thank him and all those who came out to stand with the families. But still, we needed to go further, and we had sent a team to initiate proceedings at the ICC. That is one thing that we still need to pursue further, so that even with what is happening now, let the current regime know that these 2 years, these 2 finance bills, very oppressive pieces of legislation, have costed Kenyan lives. You are talking of almost 200 lives, because apart from the 75 and the 60, we were told there were 50 more bodies. We're now being told of 200. So it is possible that we have lost more than 200 Kenyan lives to police bullets. And this is something that we cannot let go, even if there's going to be some marriage of convenience politically. But justice must be done. Like lawyers will say, let justice be done even if the heavens fall. We must continue pursuing justice for all over 200 Kenyans who lost their lives to this regime. Thank you.
All right, Eugene, and you've been a justice minister. So when you talk about justice, I'm trying to follow through and just understand why this matters to you, especially having served in a government that kept disrespecting court orders, Eugene. Are you going to give us another moment of eureka from your end, Eugene?
Can I give someone else? Then Eugene can come back, please. Mizani.
Sure, proceed.
Okay, so in this order, Anthony, and then we have Kipchichir, and then we have Morara, a Gen Z, and then probably get to Odera. TG, I know you have a closing punch. Allow us to listen to the other citizens. Anthony, 3 minutes. Anthony, I'm sorry, I might have to take the mic. Okay, keep cheer. You have 3 minutes. Anthony, I'll try again.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, proceed.
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity. Um, I am a Kenyan living abroad, but I'm really concerned about the state of affairs. And I really support those who are going for mandamanos. Unfortunately, I I didn't have the opportunity to be in the country, but if I was there, surely tomorrow I'd be out. You know, Kenyans are tired. I am also tired. Every time I visit home, you know, it brings feelings of anger on the state of affairs. First of all, I would say, most of Kenyans are just jokers. Uh, the issue now that now I am a millennial, of course, and there is no really difference with what I would really like for my country. Uh, Besides that, what the Gen Zs are also fighting for is just the same, fighting corruption, end of impunity, and if you look at these things, for instance, this is not a political issue. The politicians will never help us in this. And you can hear the politicians here speaking this and this and this. You ask them what they did, they will give you a whole lot of good things they did. But remember, there was a country, was it Burkina Faso? Thomas Sankara, in only 4 years, he changed the country. In 4 years, a lot of these politicians have been there for 20, 30 years. They have never changed the country. They have never. And I don't believe politicians. And the reason why is because I've also engaged in politics, though not in Kenya, but I quit because there is a lot of deceit in politics. So the issue about corruption, there is no amount of commission of inquiries or whatever EACC, whatever can ever be formed to fight corruption in Kenya. No, it just has to be a revolution. It has to be a revolution. And there is this group of leaders, I'm sorry to say, but there is this group of leaders, this old generation X, where they are just obsessed with positions and positions and positions. This is not what Kenyan want. The president now dissolved the cabinet and then he appointed back his friends. And nimepea this region, this region, that, this region, this. That does not help. Every Kenyan wants a dignified life. Mali unaweza umemaliza shule, you go and apply for a job, you get your salary. We don't really need to be rich, all of us, but at least you get a salary, a decent one. You have access to healthcare, education for your children. People want to live in dignity. I also, many of us in diaspora want to come back home. But where are we really coming to? Which kind of country is that? I happened to be there last year in February, and I visited a hospital because my dad was sick. And I can tell you, Kenya, just by the mercies of God, people get well in these hospitals. The place is in a mess, you know. I'll just give you an example. The governor orders drugs inakuja kwa hospitali, then wanasukisha drugs nje kwa jua, when it's very hot. Wangoji governor akuja apige picha ati ndio waweke kwa social media ndio waoneshe kwamba anafanya kazi. Imagine of course the drugs get bad because you cannot put drugs in that kind of temperature for long. So this is what I'm saying. Kenyans are not serious. We need to get angry. Tomorrow, everyone mwenye anaweza tokezea kesho. Offer any help that you can help. Kama huwezi ukafika tu mapesa, unulie wenye wanaandamana maji ama ni chakula ama ni chochote. We need to get angry. You can imagine all these corruption cases that have never been solved and they will never be solved. Somebody gets a tender to supply government with pens. Imagine a pen. One pen, $80. And people are not angry. It's just normal. Some of these politicians are speaking here. Wewe ukikaa hivyo umepewa nafasi unahudumia serikali. Then you see your colleague ana supply a pen, one big pen at $80. That's 8,000 Kenyan shillings, right? How do you feel? Then you
Yes,
come
keep
and say,
cheer. Kindly land. I hear you.
yeah, sorry?
Final submission.
Okay, is my time up?
Yeah, just one last statement and then you can wind up.
Okay, so I am very angry. I cannot even put my thoughts in order right now, but I just wish those who are going tomorrow all the best, and I hope that this truly brings the change we need in Kenya. We missed it in the year 2002. I hope this really tomorrow brings the end to corruptions and impunity, and Ruto must go. Thank you.
Asante Kipchirchir. TJ, I would like to bring you back, but we have the Gen Zs and Morara, you have been online making videos. 3 minutes. We will watch your videos after this, but 3 minutes, please.
Thank you so much. Fellow Kenyans, wherever you're listening from, today is a sad day, but tomorrow is an anxious day. Tomorrow we go back to redeem our country that has been stolen from us. In other civilizations in the world, the country has a mafia. But in Kenya, the mafia has a country for themselves. People have become so selfish that they now steal even what they don't need. It is the spirit of greed, the bottomless stomach that they try to fill and never fill until they've reached a point where they now buy watches of 17 million and so on and so forth to just try and finish the money that they've been able to loot from our public funds. There is no single government project that has not been corrupt. Almost every single government project, money was lost. Ladies and gentlemen, if we continue this way, we will not have a country tomorrow. And I always say, and will say again, that if we are going to let these people continue to stay in power and loot our public funds, then it's okay. We should stop getting children because those children are going to suffer. Because if we are already suffering this way, can you imagine what your children will have to go through for them to make it in this country? We must assert ourselves as the power that hires and fires politicians. The politicians should not have space to breathe and to organize themselves into tribal cocoons and try to manufacture poverty for us. Because we are living in a setup where poverty has been manufactured and now we are living in it and we are being told that there is nothing we can do about it. And if we do something about it, they are going to kill us. Today I want to call out Safaricom. Safaricom has provided access to something called the Crime Research and Intelligence Bureau at the DCI. Safaricom has provided access to the crib for them to access the locations of persons. I also want to call out Kenya Power. Kenya Power provides DCI with the information of which house you bought tokens. That is how these half-wit DCI are able to know where you live, come and abduct you. Well, if they were arresting you to put you before a court of law so that you can face real charges and real evidence and be convicted with a crime, that would be well and good. But for these people to turn up dead and missing, that is murder. This regime has committed murder on its citizens. How can people kill you, then continue to lead you? We need to know how much access DCI has on the data of Kenyans that is held by these two companies. And these two companies should help us know how these Kenyans got abducted. Because if a Kenyan is missing and there is a DCI that accessed his token information from KPLC, what is preventing IPOA from going to KPLC and seeking information on which officer, which service number sought information about the token of this person, ndio wakaenda kumshika kwake, and why is this person not in a police station or before a court of law? Unajua hii ni kutuuzia uoga. Na Kenya ni home. Kenya ni home. Kenya ni home, mazee. Kenya ni home.
Asante Morara.
Ruto is not going to sell us fear at home.
I need
It
you
is
to
either
learn.
he shapes up, it's either he shapes up or ships out. Ruto has only one vote. We are 50 million. The presidency is not his birthright. He can leave. We are not incompetent. We are not corrupt. We can lead this country. There is no shortage of presidents.
Asante Morara. Asante, you're a public speaker and you're passionate about this cause. Tony, your hand is up, and then I come back to probably a young person. I'm hoping this is a young person.
Well, I just wanted to say, because I'm about to leave the space at 10:30 at the and Mizani, it seems that when you're on this side, we have license to be insulted by people who don't even know us. I mean, when people make blanket statements like politicians or people who have been there should not have any voice because all people are dirty. I mean, I first of all want to remind him, maybe he's too young to remember, that this country had JM Karaoke. It had Degama Pinto, Tom Boyer, Wangari Maathai, Georgia Inyona, Martin Shikuku. There are so many people who stand on the shoulder of greatness. That young man who is talking from out of the country has no moral authority to come here and dictate and tell Kenyans that no great men and women have lived and given opportunity and have served with distinction in this nation. There have been even people of the cloth of distinction, like Dingi Mwanawanzeki and Timothy Njoya, who has given this generation the license to condemn every and anybody with any time they feel like they wake up and start shooting in the air, that everybody must be condemned because Zakayo is wrong, because Baba has fallen. We are still standing, and we have been standing before he was born. So don't also think that everybody is the same. You have a right to protest, you have a right to march, you have a right to remove Zakayo, but we also have a right to dignity and our names, which we have worked all our lives to defend. We have a right to this nation's history, like Wangari Maathai has a right to the environment she safeguarded in this nation. I also want to tell people that, you know, I seen the other day there has been fights even in social media among themselves. Some are attacking, I don't know, this blogger is attacking the other blogger. Somebody has been given money by I don't know which politician. Even within themselves, this kind of, you know, just filanga free, attacks that are baseless. Come and say Tony Gashoka has done X, and therefore Tony Gashoka cannot be heard. Then I will accept. And I will nitasalimu amri. But don't just speak because you've got a mic and shout from the mountaintop, and that makes you right. Sometimes the people who don't learn from their history cannot ever go forward or have a future. And therefore, I want to tell these spaces and this demo of tomorrow to watch the march in Washington that was held on 26th of August, I think, 1963, when 1 million people marched to the capital of the US city. They were black, white, and men of all color and of all races. And that, the consequential march on Washington is the one that gave birth to the civil rights movement. But it was all hands on deck. It was everybody together, grandparents and teenagers, together with sanitation workers and lawyers and accountants. And this attitude that we alone can do it is what has brought problems in any of the advances that have been made. The only way we are going to win this war is to win it with all hands on deck. Heshima ni mara mbili. Yes, mwizi ni mwizi, lakini kila mtu sio mwizi, kila mtu sio Zakayo. Na nataka nimalize nikisema kinaga ubaga. Tutashinda tukikubali hata hawa wanasiasa. Tutume Eugene kwa kazi nzuri, tumwambie na nyinyi muanze kutembea nchi ya Kenya mkiwa na political rallies. Mkianza Kajiado, muende Kisii, muende hapa Tononoka Grounds Mombasa, muende Kilimilili kule Kitale, mutembee hata nyinyi compliment what the GenZs are doing. Because they cannot be enough to remove Zakayo. More is better, not less. So let us all come together as a country. Let us do all we can to make sure Zakayo goes from the north, the east, the south, and the west. Not that he must be taken out by a certain group or a certain person, but he must be taken off by all of us. Kwa hiyo mengi na machache, mimi nataka kumshukuru rafiki yangu, warika yangu wa Malwa kwa kuja na kuvumilia. Mvua hapa ni kali na ni nyingi. Na nyinyi Mizani 254, Daktari Mumbi ule ananiombeaga, na jirani yangu Mombasa Redemptor, ule mwalimu na poet, asante mama wetu. Na nimesikia hata wakili wangu yuko pale, nikiwekwa korokoroni Njiru atakuja kuniokoa. Asanteni sana.
That is a mic drop moment. Mizani, I don't know who goes after that.
Tony operates with the heart of abundance. He does not have to pay any of these services. He has a praying warrior. He has mama yake pale. There is also wakili wake watamtoa korokoroni, and akona rafiki mkubwa sana. So because I know Tony and Rafiki are just about to bounce out, I'll give Eugene an opportunity. And Eugene, there is a higher call, even though the young people are stating their message tonight. There is a higher call for a leadership to be provided in your, in your cadre of political arrangements. Yourself and others who have dreams for this country, are you going to be the leaders, the alternative voice that this nation is looking for? Eugene, as you respond to so many questions, including that one. Thank you.
Called upon, we are ready. We will stand with the GenZs, with the millennials tomorrow, day after, and forever, because they are on the right side of history. And tonight, I want to tell them that we are proud of you. And so far, you have achieved beyond expectations. You have achieved more than we achieved last year. As the combined opposition in this country, we didn't even access CBD except shortly. You have reached and stepped where the eagles couldn't dare. So tonight, as you go to sleep and as you prepare tomorrow, know that the silent majority of Kenyans, your parents, your aunties, your uncles, leaders in the opposition, not all the opposition has gone into government. We will stand with you. And don't you even for a minute think or doubt yourselves. What you have achieved so far has shocked not just the nation, not just Africa, but the world. You have grounded Zakayo. This fellow had never been in the country this long since you happened. This is the second month he has not left this country. That means you have the power within your hands to ground a president. You have the power within your hands to make him alight from that very expensive Dubai jet to go to KQ. You made it happen. You made him move back to KQ. You made him grounded in Kenya and at State House. You can make things happen. Obama said change doesn't just happen. There are those who make it happen. You have in 60 days made things happen that have never happened in this country for 60 years. So tonight, we pray for you. We know that you're brave enough. Don't you relent, and know that we are with you. We will back you up. And also know that Waswahili wanasema kidole kimoja hakiui chawa. It will take kidole cha GenZ na vidole za wanasiasa wazazi wenu kuua chawa. That is one thing you must always remember, so that we embrace not just the GenZ. You are the leaders, but let us embrace everyone who is with you. And we embrace the Genzote approach and the all hands on deck approach tonight. That's the advice I leave with you. But I also say to Tony, I came here tonight not expecting a praise and worship choir. I came here expecting mishale yote nimerushiwa, because I represent a very deceitful class of leaders called politicians, self-seekers, and we have, as I've said, sinned against the nation, of fallen short of the glory of God. Look at what we have done to you, the sides we have taken for political expediency at your expense. You went out to hunt, mulikuwa karibu kushika swara, na sisi wazee tumechukua hiyo swara tunagawana. But it's not ganging up as a political class against you, the young people, will not change the course of history. I think you're on the right trajectory. Keep going. Last year, we had the opportunity to change these things at Bomas. We laid the issues on the table, the cost of living. Had we addressed this matter last year, and this is why I say William Ruto must go, and he must be held responsible for all the lives. The English say a stitch in time saves nine. Had we dealt with the issue of cost of living last year, the issues that were raised, you, the young people, did not have to come out of the streets to die and to be maimed and to be brutalized in the manner you have been brutalized. So, Tony, we take the blame. The outrage is justified. Let them call us names, but also let it not be a blanket condemnation. You must now start looking at who is standing with you. Who are your friends and who are your enemies? Tonight, I know you know who your friends are and who your enemies are. But with friends like this, who needs enemies? Thank you.
So, Eugene, before you leave,
Asante.
I see Dr. Mumbi's hand is up, and also Redempta is biting her tongue. Tomorrow, it is a significant day for the Kenyan history. The Kenyans and the young people are extremely exposed. They need life jackets to support them in this sinking boat. What are you, SKM, that is Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, Mama Martha, and the rest doing to make sure that no bullet is fired tomorrow? Would you be marching with Kenyans in Nairobi tomorrow? Because if you don't show up, Eugene, don't show up another day.
I think I want to say, can you hear me?
We can hear you, and Kenyans are listening for you to speak.
What I'm saying is that we could have prevented this situation. As teaching time saves nine, we could have stitched this issue last year. Tomorrow didn't have to happen, but it must happen because we failed you. I agree with you on that. So ile wanasema usipoziba ufa utajenga ukuta. This crack showed last year. We had the opportunity to fix it. We did not. The loss of 75 lives last year and 60 or 100 this year were preventable. It was not necessary. And for now, we must each take responsibility. For me tonight, I can only speak for myself and my party, the Democratic Action Party of Kenya. We are with you. We will be with you. And all I'm saying is that let us not take the approach of the Gen Z only doing these things, the Gen Z revolution, let it be a Gen Zote. Let's have all hands on deck. I know they are listening to us. We are going to be with you. I cannot reveal the details of how we will do this, but tonight know that you are not alone as you come out tomorrow. Thank you.
Asante sana. Our leader takes responsibility. We celebrate you because we know you've gone through your moments, sweat, blood, and tears because you're leaders. Doesn't matter what has happened. We are here to listen to you and hold you accountable. And we thank you that you've been very gracious, even when we said we are not going to call you Mweshimiwa. TG, thank you for your time. Dr. Mombi, I think you make a submission and then we will discuss if we do. I know Dara is waiting. Maybe two more people because we want to close early. Dr. Mombi, the mic is yours.
Yes, thank you so much, Rudemta. Actually, these will be my final remarks. The one thing I wanted to say first, family, is that the way everyone is saying tribal cocoons and the Luyas got their people, I saw it firsthand in Mombasa, where we genuinely came together. We created our WhatsApp groups, we created our other groups, and we genuinely created a natural, organic maandamano. It was the biggest maandamano that had ever been seen in Mombasa. Then next thing, we all know these guys are hired. So I think it's unfair to say all the Luyas have agreed and all the Coastarians have agreed and all the Kikuyus have agreed because we know we're tribeless and that is a narrative that they have been winning. I think it's very important, even with tomorrow and moving forward, knowing that media has been pulled now to hire to go and film the swearing in of the 20 cabinet secretaries. They've also been told not to cover this thing live. It is up to us now to be our own media tomorrow. But it is also important to realize that this is not a Twitter revolution. It is a Kenyan revolution happening on multiple levels. Twitter or this X space is just one of those levels. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak. Thank you, Rudemta. Thank you, Mizani. Stay blessed, stay uplifted. And family, just know for all of those who are asking, where are guys going to be? Where am I going to be? Where is that? We saw Guido go today. It is a very volatile situation for us who are putting ourselves on the front line and speaking out. But you will see us when you see us. Sending you all so much love, so much protection. Remember to cover yourself, mothers, sisters, brothers, aunties, uncles. Remember to cover those who are not coming, those who will be on the streets. The ancestors and the Most High are with you, and those who will be in your homes. You still have a role to play in terms of praying, meditating, and fasting. I love you all. See you tomorrow on the streets.
Asante sana. I think our main speakers, and we had to have main speakers to steer this conversation. It does not mean the other people's opinion does not matter. Odera has been waiting. I hope he's a young person. And you also have to give us the grace that when we do not see your faces, we are not sure who we are talking to. But your opinion matter if you are a genuine Kenyan. Odera, 3 minutes, and then Mizani, let's see what you want us to do, maybe for another 5-10 minutes.
Thank you, Redeemer, and thank you, Mizani, for hosting. Redeemer, Mizani is my longtime friend. My profile picture is just standing with my country. That's why I have a flag as a profile
She's
picture.
actually redeemed Odera.
Oh,
Kidogo
okay.
redeemer, but
Not
she's gonna redeem
redeemer.
us.
Okay.
I will redeem.
Thank you. Mizan, I really find it hard debating with these politicians. I don't want to lie about that. One politician that I hold dear and who has been consistent with her message is Martha Karua. But one thing that taints Martha Karua that she's unable to shake off is Kibaki's stolen vote. That is what people use to rubbish Martha Karua. But if you listen to her message, she's consistent in her message. She is accountable for all her actions back in then. Whatever she did bad, she says we did it bad. We failed you people. And where they didn't fail us, then she takes credit for it. You know, the likes of Tony Gashoka had the opportunity to do different. They failed with Raila. Raila re-strategized, dropped them off, and all they talk about is Raila this, Raila that. That's why I don't listen to Tony Gashoka. That's why I don't listen to Miguna. They have nothing new. I call it whining, you know. Eugene Wamalwa is coming here, and he's only talking about Ruto's government, like they did wonders before Ruto, you know. He's talking like Uhuru never killed people in demonstrations. He was the Minister for Defense at some point. And the Minister of Defense is one of the most corrupt ministries in Kenya. But he will not talk about this. He just want to limit it to the last 2 years and what is happening now. And he's saying that they should have saved the situation 2 years ago. This problem is not a 2-year problem. This problem is a 60-year-old problem. They had the opportunity to fix it. They didn't fix it, you know? And that's why I don't like hanging around politicians when we're discussing serious matters like this. I'll try and be very brief. People are saying that the Gen Z are losing the narrative that they started with or reject the finance bill. It was rejected, or fire your government fired, and now they are on Ruto must go. You know, we look at the Bangladesh. I'm really following the Bangladesh story. They started with reject the quota system. If you've lived in Asia or studied the sociology of Asia, you will understand what the quota system is. Then the quota system was thrown out, but these people didn't stop. They went ahead and said, we want Sheikh Hasina out. And they pushed until she left. Now, after she's gone, there's an interim government which has rejected all politicians. There is not a single politician in that interim government, you know. The Bangladeshi demonstration started with students. They've achieved their aim, and now they're sitting back, and then they're letting whoever leader can steer Bangladesh forward to go forward. But here we keep asking, after Ruto, what next? The GenZs started this thing. Now everyone wants a piece of it, including the politicians. And that's what's bringing them through these spaces. They're speaking very graciously because they want a piece of the pie. You know, they keep saying that we need their wisdom. These people don't have any wisdom. If they had it, they could have fixed these problems a long time ago. So they need kukaa kando and let us do what we need to do. And when Ruto leaves, then we will think about the next step, you know. My only problem with us
Odora,
is
you need to
that,
land. You need to land,
yes,
please.
I'm landing. My only problem with us is like we've not secured our gains since this demonstration started. You know, we've had pockets of wins, but we've let Ruto claw back. You know, what is going to happen after tomorrow is hard to tell, you know, but it is what Kiswahili says, mbivu na mbichi, you know. So we'll pick up tomorrow from where we left it, occupying the airport. And I hope that we'll pick up the momentum because Ruto is ready for us. So tomorrow we'll decide if we are getting back our country or our country is gone for good. Thank you very much, Mizani.
Asante sana, Odera. Thank you. I have Dr. Owiti. I'm just passing the mic without putting rejoinder so that we have a few more people before we call it a night. Dr. Owiti.
Tuendele, Dr. Wit is sleeping. Let's go to CEO. That is CEO.
Yes,
you guys
I'm here.
recognize your name.
I'm
So
here.
Mark,
Thank you, Mizani. I was just trying to fix my.
all right, you have 3 minutes. Kindly use them.
I was just trying to fix my mic here. Thank you. I just want to confirm here that majority of Kenyans are so exasperated with the manner in which the current regime is running its affairs. We all agree that there is corruption. There is corruption in almost every ministry. There is corruption in our whatever at our county governments, right? You know, the levels of unemployment in this country, you know, it's so appalling. When you look at tribalism, you know, it's boiling up. People identify themselves with their tribes, with their ethnic formations, right? I've had the opportunity to listen to the former Minister of Defense, the former CS of Defense, Eugene Wamalwa. But I want to confirm here that, you know, politicians, of course, myself as a politician, sometimes we tell people what they want to hear. Sometimes we divorce ourselves from the truth, not necessarily to try and you know, correct or right the wrong, but necessarily to, you know, make people feel comfortable. When we see some of us crying foul that, you know, there is a high level of unemployment, especially among the young people, it is a fact that, you know, we cannot run away from. But we also have a channel, you know, we have a channel of registering our disappointments, our exasperation. We can go to the street, right? We can also, you know, petition the parliament. You know, we can, there is something called a private bill. As members of the public, you can decide to petition the parliament. And, you know, we tell the parliament that, you know, this law, this particular clause of the constitution is not in tandem with the aspirations and the wishes of so many Kenyans. Particularly, we look at the system of governance in this country. It is quasi-presidential. You know, it is not purely parliamentary. It's not purely presidential. But we want a system where, you know, Kenyans will be absolved. You know, Kenyans will be taken away from fighting each and every 5 years, and we move this fight to parliamentarians so that we have parliamentarians able to elect the president. And I gave this example, you know, in some of the spaces. We have South Africa. South Africa, if you look at their voting patterns, because they are using parliamentary system, you will be shocked that Julius Malema might have voted for Ramaphosa. And that is one way of, you know, bringing people together, ensuring that there is coherence in the country. So it is my submission here that as young people march to the street tomorrow, as Kenyans, GenZs march the street tomorrow, we must have concretize petitions. We must go there and tell those serving in higher positions that it is time you people listened to us, especially on these items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One being the system of governance. I don't think that it is proper to come forth and tell us that we are in government and we have been defeated to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The government is put in place. The government is put in place to ensure that the aspirations of the voter are actually we work on each and every item of our promises, right? So it is my expectation
Dr.
that tomorrow as we march,
land.
it is my expectation that tomorrow as we as young people march to the streets of Nairobi, wherever they may be, let us have something that is concrete. Let us not just allow our fellows to die in vain. Let us exchange the blood of those who will die tomorrow, and God forbid, with something that is going to save the future generation. Thank you.
Thank you for that. But we stand against that prophecy of death. I'm hoping that will not happen and nobody will be killed tomorrow, because this is a nation that believes in the rule of law, and demonstrations are part of that. Eric, you have the mic. Eric is not there. Kiplagat, you have the mic. Kiplagat is not there. CEO, you have the mic.
Hello, my fellow Kenyans. Hope you're doing good. So, what I can say is about tomorrow. Let's stand on our solidarity for tomorrow so that we show whatever we want to achieve. This country, we are being pressured by these leaders, doing such nonsense things. So tomorrow, what I can say, all my fellow Kenyans all over the country, let's come, picket our rights, and we'll have a good at the end of it. What I can also say at the end, may God be with us tomorrow as we picket. Let us not have this prophecy of death. God will be with us and we'll achieve it. Okay, bye-bye.
Asante, under 1 minute.
Thank you. Yeah, that's very commendable, actually. We need such kind of speakers, right? Africa. Gordon, you have the mic. If you can unmute and proceed, please.
Derek spoken.
Well, thank you. I want to speak about something here, which I thought that came by when other speakers were speaking. Let us remind ourselves that everything, good decisions, proper judgments are made not based on numbers, but based on knowledge. So we must have the knowledge in every judgment we make, but we must not make any judgment based on figures or numbers. Because in the end, all of us want a prosperous Kenya with all of us in it. Nobody wants a Kenya minus them in it. You don't want to have a nation that is prosperous without you in it, because you're not just doing it for others, you're doing it for you and your generations to come. So let us have that in mind. And I would want to ask, from the organization standpoint, that it is better that Kenyans begin to lay foundation of having a proper policy formulation framework moving into the future. I'm happy that there are many leaders here. Some members of parliament are here. The young members of parliament, can they begin to listen to young Kenyans and begin to form assemblies and find ways of how to formulate policies that will help this country? Because after all is done, in the name of demonstrations, people shall retreat back to their houses and homes. But where are the policies that this country shall run on that we want to see in the near future? So I'm pleading with the leaders who are here, more especially members of parliament. I can see some of them are here, and other leaders in various sectors. Can they begin to lay framework that will help this country moving forward? I thank you.
Redemptor, looks like you have some
No,
problem with your
I'm
mic.
good.
Are you
Richard
there?
was here before, so I'll make it. Richard, please make it your final submissions, 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, I was actually going to make this my final submission and say the guys who fought for the first and second liberation lived their time and they did what they could do within their times with the issues that were pressing during their times. This is the issues we have pressing us on this current time. However, moving forward, the resolution we should actually make as a people who are living within these times is to look at the issues we have currently and how we move forward from here. Part of the mess we're trying to fight here is historical and it's deeply entrenched within our institutions, the manners we have in our politics and all that. But I think this generation, and by generation I mean people who are living in this day and age, whether they be 60, 50, 40 years old, we really have to make a decision of how we move forward from here as a people. There are those who would sit on the fence. There are those who would be actively involved. There are those ones who would be on spaces and speak about it. There are those ones who would want to be historians and write about it. But I think by pen, voice, and action, all of us have to and need to and must decide how our future and these countries actually going to be moving forward from here. So there are too many directions out there. There are too many people with different opinion, but we've presented ourselves a unique point in history. 20, 30 years from now, the children would no longer see us as Gen Zs, would have different generations. They'd have their own issues. So this is our moment. Let's speak with a united voice and actually clamor for change that would fix the systems we have currently. I believe even the best of people and leaders with the current state of affairs would not be able to make it. So my final comment would be this. Looking at the heartbeat of this country, we seem to be on life support and we're encouraging ourselves that we're actually doing well. And there's no way we'd move forward if we do not make decisive decisions on how we should actually get our futures running from here. So Mizani and Redemptor for hosting this space tonight. I don't know what tomorrow holds, but one thing I do know for sure is I want a better country and a better Kenya. I don't want 20, 40 years from now, my kids still struggling with the 5th, 10th liberation. I think these liberations we've been having, we have to give and say that this is where the buck stops and this is actually where it ends, so that we have new conversations. So thank you for giving me the space to speak tonight. I'm really looking forward to a new Kenya and a Kenya that really looks at accountability and governance on a whole different level and not these mess and the games we've been playing in the past. I thank you and yield.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you very much. I know our seniors will come back to listen to what you have said after they have left. Sadiq, we are doing 2 minutes because of time.
Thank you. My submission is very simple. I think I've followed this conversation for quite some time. The problem we have is a systemic issue. And if you look at our political structure, which is where the problem starts, where once legislators are elected into office, they are sort of forced to play the majority game, right? So they are tethered to the executive. They don't have any objectivity. They don't have any control. So unless we sort of tackle this political structure, right? Because it's like a container. You put water in it, it assumes the shape of that container. So no matter which leader you put there, no matter which leader you bring, at the end of the day, they'll assume that structure and they'll try and play that game. President Ruto, all these politicians are actually players in this game, right? And they know what it takes to get there, right? They have to play this game, which includes a lot of nasty business, right, for you to get there. So if we really, really want to make a change, we need to look at 2027, find a way of replacing all these legislators, at least the majority of them, and then get those legislators to now introduce a new political structure that will serve Kenyans. But if we continue playing this game, I promise you, we'll look back 60 years and the story will still be the same. Because at the end of the day, if the structure is not changed, everything is going to stay the same. So for me, these protests are actually a way for Kenyans to look at this thing afresh and to see what is actually ailing the country and not looking at individuals. At the end of the day, all these politicians are leaders who come from our communities. Leaders are manifestation of the people, right? So we can't just keep on blaming politicians or leaders because they come up from amongst us, right? At the end of the day, most of us go out there and say, oh, I'm going to be a better leader. But the reason why most of us fail, look at guys like is it Muhammad Ali from Mombasa, right? This guy was a journalist. He was out there like critiquing government and everything. Right now, he's playing the game because he's assuming that political structure. There's nothing you can do. You have to play it. If you don't play it, then they kick you out, right? So that's my submission, and I'm really happy that these conversations are actually taking center stage, and we're actually looking at these things and trying to look at things from a different perspective, as opposed to like just looking at leaders and saying these are the people who are the problem. They're not the problem. The problem is the structure and what we've allowed to happen for so long. So if we look at it objectively, I think we'll see where the problem is and stop blaming like individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, Sadiq, and thank you for your patience. I think I've been seeing you since we started speaking. Paul, we are doing 1.5 minutes, then we do appeal.
Good evening. Thank you very much for the opportunity of the mic. I appreciate it. I appreciate the leaders, different leaders who have been who are on this platform. Respectfully, my opinion is about tomorrow. I mean, my strong suggestion is about tomorrow. Why are we having tomorrow? Because some of the leaders are coming here and bringing their good ideas about politics. But we need to first start with tomorrow. It is tomorrow that will determine the future. Is it that the people, can they be united? Can we be united and say enough is enough? We've had enough of this and we want some serious change. And are the voices of the people going to be heard? First of all, we need to be safe. Being in numbers, that is a security thing. That's a safety measure. If we turn up in the numbers, that will mean that we are united and we are safe, because we will be our own keepers. We are going to observe law. We're going to be peaceful because we have a mission. Because this mission we have is really a big mission, and it's about the future. We need to remember the lives we have lost in this, which means that the problem has never been resolved, and we want to resolve it once and for all. As a beginning is tomorrow. So the politicians can be here and give us all. Everyone is welcome in this. We are calling, even if Ruto himself resigns before tomorrow, and then he comes to the table and gives the reason why he had to resign, just like he conceded to the finance bill 2024. We still need that because we don't want to kill it. We don't want losses of lives. So the more we have, the better. So we call upon all leaders with their numbers, not leaders, but to be together with us tomorrow, so that we achieve the mission for tomorrow. That's all I wanted to say, that we are not here to start discussing how we are going to achieve the better Kenya we have in the future. It is tomorrow that will determine that. Can we achieve the first step first? If we can do that together as a nation, that would be victorious. That would be a celebration for the entire Africa, because already we are making headlines. Don't worry about.
Paul, kindly conclude. Conclude.
Yeah. Don't worry about media not covering us. We are going to be the media. That media won't be seen by anyone, because that is just a kind of already a problem, because they are not observing that something serious is happening in the nation tomorrow. So don't worry about any other diversions. Let us
Thank
stick
you.
to tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Opio, time is not on our side. Your submissions, please.
Oh, thank you for this space. I just wanted to disagree with some of the submissions that I've just heard. People talking about policies, problem are not leaders. We don't have shortage of policies in this country. Remember when the NADCO report was not implemented until GenZs came into place. So we don't want empty lectures on policies. The problem are leaders. The systems did not vote yes in the Finance Act. They were leaders. So those are the problems. Those are the people who must accept that they're the problems. And if we are not going to change these people, then we are still going to have systems that are not working. However, I want to assure everybody that even if this thing doesn't change now, but I'm totally sure 2027 elections will change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Opio, and much appreciated for you making time to be here. Now, unfortunately, we won't be taking more mics. We play with you. There's Nane that is upcoming few hours from now, and we'd love for you to be ready and energized for that day. Whatever is you're pursuing should be able to be achieved in that order. But I'm quite moved by this one young man that is joining us on the call tonight, and not because of his oratories skills, but because I don't know him, or I didn't know him not until I met one of his kids that he was talking and giving a speech of the speeches that President Ruto should have given over the weeks. And I want to believe that is one of the clips the president and his team watched and thought maybe we didn't get this right. And to some extent, they had a softened heart. And Morara, you have been on the outline and everywhere discussing what Kenyans need to do and how they need to achieve it through your writings, through your postings, and equally engaging people in matatus, telling them about civic education. Tomorrow is a very significant day, Morara. All said and done. What is your main message to the young people of this nation, of your kind, and also those we believe to be our elders? Morara.
Thank you so much. Tomorrow is going to be a day like no other. The young people of this country are going to reclaim their country. If you are a young person and you want to be out there tomorrow, please make sure you stay safe and make sure that you do not leave until your goals are achieved. Our mission is not to create anarchy. Our mission is to restore order. Already there is too much anarchy with corruption. There are many more youths that are dying through stress and depression than the ones that have been killed by the police. Do not be afraid to die, for every man will die, and you don't have a choice of how you will die. William Ruto himself, you can see from the loss of hair on his head that he is sick. Even if he kills us tomorrow, he will follow us in a few. So why should we be worried? Life is not worth living if we are living on our knees. We should live on our feet. Let's go there and take our country back into our hands, because we've lost it. We've lost it to the president who lies about everything and his friends who steal what even they do not need. Our country is being sold to foreigners. Our country is being gobbled down. Everything is being stolen. Nothing is left for us. If we do not come out, our children will not have a country to live in, and they will have nothing to enjoy here. So let's go and reclaim this future for them. The presidency is not William Ruto's birthright. He was not born with it. It is Kenyans who decided to make him the president. If he is no longer serving the needs of Kenyans, we will fire him. And I want to say it in his voice, and I want you to listen. Mimi nataka niwaeleze hivi na nataka mnisikize vizuri. It is the people that hire and fire governments. Hii mambo ya corruption hii, it will end. I promise you. It will come to an end. Na mimi nitazungumza na mjumbe wenu. Tutaweka pesa sasa, tuko na another 500 million, tutabomoa nyumba hapa, tutajenga unit zingine 40,000, na sasa tutatengeneza hizi units za hawa mama mboga na hawa watu makanga na hawa vinyozi na wale wabeba. Sasa hawa wote wanaweza kukopa deni ya serikali bila interest. You know, the reason I used to make these clips was not for entertainment. It was for education. William Ruto is demolishing houses to build houses, and he says these houses are affordable to the youth that do not have employment, affordable to the civil servants whose payslip has been deducted to death. Who is he building the houses for? Is he building them so that we can live in them or so that we can die in them? He is saying he has created 160,000 jobs. Those are temporary kazi ya mjengo jobs. He is not able to tell us what is his long-term plan. This guy is a liar. And that is why in my video I said, kwa mambo ya uongozi, he is planless. Yeye anasema ati sisi tuko leaderless. Nyinyi mnakaa kuwa watu wa kuwa leaderless na formless kweli? Hebu nione kwa mkono wale wanasema watakuwa kesho. Salale. Kweli nyinyi ni watu mmejielewa. This time round, we know we are going to dine with the devil. And whenever we are dining with the devil, we will use a long fork. And we will use his own tactics against him. But we will not relent. And guys, don't fear. Msiuziwe uoga. Mko home. Kenya ni home. Nani anakuja kuwauzia uoga mkiwa nyumbani? Who the heck is that? William Ruto can go live in another country if he doesn't want to live here. Kenya belongs to 50 million Kenyans. William Ruto is treating us as if he is our landlord and we are his tenants. Akwende huko na hiyo upuzi yake. It is either he shapes up or ships out. He is our servant, not our slave master. If he doesn't want to serve Kenyans and provide real solutions to the economy, then no problem. We are educated. Kwani tulienda shule kufanya nini? We can be presidents. We have almost 20 million people in Kenya that can be president. In fact, we can have one president per day till Jesus comes. So William Ruto should not try to sell us fear using tools that he has bought with our taxes, like this system that he bought from Israel called Pegasus, that the National Intelligence Service is now using. That's our taxes. That's our money. These Subarus that this year are driving here carelessly with thick heads, those Subarus belong to us. In fact, one day if I catch one Subaru, I'll hijack it and take it home. It's my money. Hii pesa yenye anapatia goons were being given at a police station today. That is money that has been stolen through corruption. They are just bringing back our money. They should bring more. We will take the money and we will still be on the streets. There will be no escape route for William Samoei Arap Ruto. It is either he makes change or we change him. Sio yeye anatufunza kazi, sisi ndo tunamfunza kazi. Kwa hivyo kama William Ruto amekataa kabisa katakata kwa kichwa ngumu na kifua ya chuma, amesema yeye anataka kubishana na Wakenya, hakuna shida. We will show him that we are the ones who hire and fire governments in his own words. So tomorrow, mimi nitakuwa kwa street. And I'm not going to the street because I'm poor. By the way, you guys should know I employ 75 Kenyans. So somebody would wonder, why is this young man who drives a good car, lives in a good house, employs over 75 people, why is he on the street? He should be enjoying his wealth somewhere in Diani. I can tell you guys, the amount of people who depend on me, the amount of people who ask for help from me and I'm unable to give them that help. I feel guilty that I'm unable to help them. Yet I'm not the one who has put them in that situation. There are so many. I want these people to have opportunities. And I want opportunities to open up so that I can also grow my enterprise and employ over 500 youths. Can you imagine if I, Morara, I can employ 500? What can someone else do? And what can someone else do? And another one, and another one. There will be no youth suffering in the streets. But Ruto wants to convince us that investors are white, that we should only get investors from abroad. Yet we are black and we are investors and we can invest. He doesn't want to give us access to capital. He wants to keep us poor, uneducated, dumb, and daft so that he can control us. Akwende huko bwana, akwende huko kabisa. In fact,
Asante
anything that
Morara.
William Ruto says is a lie. If he says tomorrow it's going to rain, I'll not carry an umbrella.
Asante Morara for your fire. Mizani, I need us to close. Eric had asked, Eric, now you understand with such a submission, you need just to summarize what Morara is saying or share your own opinion so that we wrap it up.
Huyu Eric alikuwa anataka microphone ang'are kwa TL, but ni sawa Eric, I know it's late, so we'll do this, we'll help you out, we will drop you from the speaker and allow you another time to be part of the conversation. Now, Morara, listening to you, I am scared, not because I'm afraid of what is coming, but if these are the kind of leaders we'll be having in the days to come, Redemptor, then Kenya will be a different country. And I'm hoping we can have the courage. But when it comes to issues of health, I always say all of us are subject to the same route. And it's my prayer if the president is actually unwell, he gets better. And among other leaders, including young people that are here, and they're struggling with every other situation that we are dealing with. On the point blank, we are saying, would it be the day of reckoning come tomorrow, Redemptor, as you close us out?
My closing remarks are everybody must remember to number their days. The reason I do everything that I do is because my ancestors were freedom fighters. I come from the lineage of Masako. Masako is named after my great grandfather. So sometimes when people ask what I am and what I do, I just say I am a storyteller. The young people of Kenya today in 2024 have saved some of us from mental anguish. We were wondering how long and who is going to finish this fight. We have been in forums where we raise our fists and we fear that they will kill us, and we make these words. If they kill us, our children will finish the fight. I have been looking for those children. I have found them. I pray for them to live a long life. There is no order in the world that permits older men to kill young men who just want a chance to achieve what the older people achieved, if not more. We took our young people to school so that they can be better than us. This revolution was started, is led by the young people. It does not mean there are not two kinds of Kenyans, those who agree to be slaves and freedom fighters. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And tomorrow, I wish everyone life.
Thank you very much, Redemptor. It has been an immense pleasure having this conversation with you. And of course, unlike the common situation we have here on Mizani, my good friend Obed stepped in today as a speaker. We'll be hosting another space this coming Friday on different conversations. Look forward to having you also on Sunday as we discuss something towards the elephants and protecting nature, among other conversations. Indeed, the past month and a half, I should say, has been like a whole year packed into days. We kicked off with Reject Finance Bill, endured marathon spaces where everyone was talking French and telling Ruto to go and have something for himself, among other issues. Witness Parliament breach on the 25th of June, tragic killings, leaving scores injured. And of course, we had a situation whereby many called was like a massacre that happened in Githurai and Zimmerman. To some extent, the government, through President Ruto, has denied any occurrence of that and asking, show me the body. Don't just talk about death or killings without the bodies. And of course, we went on looking into the issue in Kware area where people was actually woke up to some scaring news
of bodies being discovered in some what I would call inhuman status in terms of how they died and how they were killed. Long story short, Mashamba deals came into play, the coalition drama, and people are crossing over, and all of a sudden, there are people who have won possible CS seats. Having said that, the Finance Bill 2023 also called to nullification because it was against the tenets of the law. These and other stories have been what made Kenya the past 1 month and a half. And as we're speaking, we also have news that the USA sent us Uzra Zeya, who is Under Secretary Civilian Security, Democracy and Human Rights, to warn President William Ruto about abuses on protest by security forces. USA demands all police to take what we call personal responsibilities for killings. Is it that the US finally discovered that they went to bed with the wrong administration, or is it just a matter of PR? Remember, they still have interests to protect in this bountiful country we call Kenya. All said and done, may justice be our shield and defender. See you when you see us, and again, take care when you go out. We are out. My name is Likuani Eli. On behalf of Mizani 254, we wish you a very great evening and Baraka.
hali ya juu, kwa sababu Wakenya tumejitoa ama vijana tumemwelezea our demands. Tumwambia jamaa clean this system. Jamaa amerudisha tu wale watu wenye yeye ana trust, sio wenye Wakenya wana trust. Yani kutuonyesha sisi we don't matter. Na in case kuna mtu wa government ako hapa ama wale bloggers wenye wanasikiza to report, this system tunajaribu kusanitize ama kusafisha is for better country. You're not doing it kwa sababu wewe labda unalipwa ile pesa kidogo ya kufurahisha labda huyo rais ama kufurahisha mwenye amekuajiri. Tukitengeneza system ya Kenya ikuwe mzuri, it will be better for us. Na wakati fulani huyu Ruto akikampaign alisema hii nchi sijui wajukundu atakuja kulipa madeni. Yeye akakuja akatupromise hatakopa madeni. Sasa Ruto ndio yeye anakimbia kukopa deni kila siku. Na Kenya we have resources. Kumekuwa na blog na nini influencers hapa kwa X wamekuwa wana post about hizo mambo na minerals. Hii mambo ya Nane wakati tumekuwa tuna prepare wakakuja wakanyamaza. Of which sijajua what happened, but hii inaonyesha tu kuna watu wenye wamefanya nini, wameshatolewa kwa hii nini movement. Na sisi wa Kenya kama tunataka change, tusikuwe deceived na watu wenye wametoka kwa movement. To focus, kama ni kesho tutoke wote tuende, kwa sababu Ruto kitambo ameshatuonyesha hata tusikiza. Kesho sisi tuko maandamano, jamaa amepanga saa 3 anaapisha kabineti yake. So Wakenya, mimi kitu ningependa tu tukue na mshikamano kesho. Nimesikia boda wenye wameenda wakapewa Kitengela, sijui ama walienda wapi, police station pale, wamepewa pesa wakuja wasumbue maandamano yenye itakuwa peaceful. Sisi Wakenya tushikane kesho, tutoke tuandamane, na kama inawezekana tuingie hata State House. Kama ni mbaya ni mbaya, kwa sababu hii maisha Bangladesh watu wenye wamepoteza maisha, there was approximately 1400 of which they have cleaned the system. So it's better hata kama sisi tunaweza jitolea tusafishe nchi yetu. Ruto peke yake haizifanya nchi isafe because that anasikiza wazungu ama wa America vile wanasema. Kwanza kuna yule ambassador mwenye alimake sure Ruto amepita, na Raila amekuja ametuonyesha yeye hata kumbe si mtu wa wananchi. Yaani Raila amejaribu kutuonyesha kitu kingine. Kumbe jamaa mtu alisema Raila hajawahi kuwa opposition, kumbe ni ukweli. Raila ni mtu mwenye ako kwa government na ni mtu mwenye huwa anafanyia government, sijui nini yenye jamaa anapata kwa government, but sisi all this time tumekuwa tunaamini Raila ni mtu mwenye anatupigania sisi wa Kenya ama wananchi wenye tuko hali ya chini. Sisi wananchi tumegundua tunaweza toka to demand our rights. Yeye amekuja amefanya na ametu double cross. Sisi sasa hii wakati tunaanza hii movement na tukimalizia kesho tukienda kusafisha State House, ningependa tu kama Mkenya ako hapa ananisikiza, 2027 mtu yoyote mwenye ako associated na Raila, please nawaomba tu. Hata mimi nilikuwa mtu wa Raila damu, lakini hata Raila nimemwanfollow. Me I don't want to see anything. Maybe watu wa like wengi ndio nipate notification ama ni akuje kwa timeline yangu maybe, lakini Raila mimi, mtu yoyote mwenye ako ODM mimi sitampea kura. Mtu yoyote mwenye ako kwa Raila sitampea kura. Raila ni mtu ako kwa serikali na anajua vile wana benefit kwa serikali. Sisi wa Kenya tusikuwe na watu wenye tunaangalia kumbe hao watu. Ona mtu kama Sifuna, sasa Sifuna amenyamaza. Sifuna of all people alikuwa akienda interview, mtu tunasema ndio atatuokoa. Sasa Sifuna ameingia kwa system, yani like is this serious? Yani hii Kenya sisi kumbe wa Kenya si tuko tu kwetu, sisi tuko tu kwa, yani we are on our own. Hatuna mtu mwenye atatupigania sahi. Tunaenda maandamano, hata hakuna mwanasiasa mwenye anaweza sema Raila na ama rais, hebu address hao wa Kenya chenye wanataka na ufanye nini, uwasikize. Wote wameingia tu huko, hata umeona hii mambo yenye wamefanya ya vetting na nini ya kuappoint ma-CS. Yani rais kama angekuwa mtu mwenye at least anaona sisi
Wind up, wind up.
Yes, namalizia. Rais kama angekuwa mtu mwenye anasikiza wa Kenya, hata angechukua watu kama Murkomen, mtu kama Duale, wale wote, Alice Wahome. Huyu jamaa angechukua hao watu wote, hata waweke nje vile ameweka Moses Kuria na Babu na Mwamba, angewaweka kando na atuletee watu wageni wenye sisi wenyewe hata tutasema rais ametusikiza. Lakini kiburi ya Ruto kama unasikiza ama Itumbi anasikia, na huyo jamaa wake wa Sugoi anaitwa Faruk Kibet, hii nchi wakati itakombolewa mtalipia. Ni hivyo tu nikimalizia.
Asante. Hebu mute your mic. Sush, sasa niende kwako direct. Naona watu wako wengi.
Jamani. Okay, mimi naanza na forward ever, backward never. Forward ever, backward never. Hakuna kuangalia nyuma. Ukiangalia nyuma unajipata pabaya. Ruto is a bully. Tuanzie ni hapo. Na dawa ya bully ni kukua ni kukua worse than the bully. Kuna term kama more bullier. If it works, it works. You have to bully the bully until they submit. Ruto bado haja submit. Tulikuwa tumemweka kwa corner, then all of a sudden that's why ile space yenye alikuja kuweka, that was hapo ndo alijitoa kwa corner. Tulikuwa tumeshamweka kwa corner hivi. Sasa tumrudisha hapo hivyo, atatoka. Uli bully. Bully si wa kuongelesha, bully ni kumkula makumbo, majab zote. Ukitaka kumweka sweep, weka sweep. Make sure apumui. Bully akikuangalia hivi kesho, atakuwa na kuona hivi, ukikanyaga njia anapitia njia nyingine. That's what we have to do with Ruto. Let's take care of Ruto the way that hata pumua manze. Tulimpatia time amepumua, sasa hivi unaona anaenda kuringia watu. Anaenda kuambia watu venye anataka, anaweza kukimbia kila mahali akikampeni akijifanya anafanya projects. We have to wake up Kenyans. Ruto ni face of the African Union. Ama puppets wote. Kama mnajua. He's the face. Hao wengine unajua wengine ni wazae, watu wataki historia yao. He's the youngest one, so he's the face of that African Union. All those puppets, he's the face of these puppets. So if we take care of him, tutakuwa tunafanyia the whole of Africa justice. Kwa ajili ya kina Museveni and the cause will fall after Ruto falls. So let's take care of this guy. We are doing justice for the whole of Africa. If we mtu mwacha kusema tu mtu tulimweka hapa kwa kiti. Mtu akweka kwa kiti na Wakenya. Alikuja akaweka hapo na the Western puppets, the African Union, that the people who put him there. Kwa ajili walijua kuweza kumweka hapo. Hizi ndio ndoto sasa tunapigania. Hawangepata. So Ruto nyumbani hakuna kubembeleza. Na tukimpeleka nyumbani tutafree the whole of Africa. Everybody will start having a voice. Unaona sasa the whole of Africa is having a voice because of what we did. So umsende nyumbani. Hao wengine wanaweza kupata tension. Ruto akiweza kwenda nyumbani, and that should not happen at all. Akiweza kwenda nyumbani jueni kitu moja. Yenye nimwambia ukabila itaanza. Na itakuwa mbaya sana. Acheni hata historia nyingine. Ukabila itaanza itakuwa. Now we are trying to avoid that from happening. Hiyo nimeka nikirudia kwa ajili, that's one of the main thing we have to avoid. Kwa ajili ukabila yenye narudi itakuwa mbaya. You have to avoid that. Hiyo story ya kuappoint ministry. Mnajua kwa hiyo ana appoint Ruto ni mjanja. This guy is a very smart guy. Ruto alikuwa ameweka Duale, alikuwa ameweka Duale kwa hivyo kwa military. Kwa nini alichange akaka msupa wake? Because he wants to control the whole thing. Na akaanza control from home. Jueni kesho the moment atapisha huyo manzi wake aingie kwa kiti, military itaanza kudan to his own tune. Saizi military inakata kucheza to play in so tune, it will start playing with its own tune kwa sababu mkubwa wao anawaambia. So we have to stop that from happening from the word go. Hakuna kuweka mtu ni kaende. Forward ever, backward never. Mkikumbuka before history yote nini ianze, history yote ya demonstrations ianze, kuna umse ukiparamboto ogopa DJs huko hivyo kwao, alikuja ka propose story ya nini ya 7 years terms of a president, if you remember. I don't know his name, that guy anakuwa na kichwa kama ogopa DJs. If you guys don't, if we don't take care of these guys, I'm telling you, saizi serikali yote imeenda side ya Ruto, the opposition and the government. Wakisema wanaongeza terms za president, amutaongea. Na kama if they take control, I'm telling you, if they say the president is going to have 10 years, we won't do nothing because you atakuwa take control of everything. Forward ever, backward never. My friends, saizi hakuna kucheza. Ni kaende. Hakuna kuangalia nyuma. Kaende. Na mujue ama ma recruits, achana mwache kushikwa njeve na mapolisi. If all Kenyans hata tangu time za Obako, tuanzie hapo hivyo tangu time za Obako. Niambie polisi ama military wangapi wameenda pale, wamekubaliwa kuingia hapo kwa camp. Ni wangapi wameingia pale, wamequalify ama wamenunua? Ani wanyonge, these are the people who used to bully in school. Ana tulikuwa nakula mabare manze. Ana tulikuwa nakula mabare, mtu amepatia bunduki akaanza kujiona kifua, akaanza kujifurisha kifua manze. If you remember very well, hao watu ni watu wamepitia through office, wamelipwa, wanalipanga pesa ndio ingie. Hawajaingia pale hivi kwa ajili ni watu wako na hewa, wenye wa Kenya wenye wako nje wako na hewa. Wale wanaendanga mnachapa tizi, mnaambia mchapa raundi kama 10, mnachapa raundi 10 mpatiwi kazi. Hao ndio wako nje. Kwa nini tusiwaoneshe ni nani wako na nguvu? Ni nani wako na nguvu katikati yetu sisi wawili? Tunaweza hata amua kuende hapo hivyo penye hapo hivyo anajiona hapo hivyo kiganjo watu wachangamkie. Msitesi. Kesho ni nane ni kuenda stato. Msitesi na afande kitu gani? Kuleni bare, chapeni sweep. Mtu asijaribu kukuchezea. Kesho enemy ni Orezo na polisi. Jueni hivyo. Mkiweza kuwekea kwa kichwa, mtachezea kabaya. Saizi ni kaende. Kwa ajili tukijaribu kutensivi moja akishukwa mtu anatoka siaka, jua watashika kama vijana wawili watatu to make an example. So kaende forward ever, backward never. Wacha niachie hapo.
Aha, thank you. Sush, aya, next, MMS.
Yes, Kowino. I hope unanisikia.
Safi sana, nakusikia loud and clear.
For me, I'll be short as a cock on a hen. Nitakuwa very short. So first, nataka kudibanki statement watu wanasema hapa ati we should not blame Raila. Kwanza actually, you guys mnafaa mjue sisi Raila kuna pesa yetu ya tax na kulanga. And this is through the Political Parties Act, that is of 2011. It may set up the Political Parties Fund. Now this fund is about 0.3% of the total revenue in a government earn every year. Na ukiangalia vile wanagawana hii pesa, 70% of it proportionally according to the number of votes unapata. So kumaanisha watu walivotia Raila hizo votes zote hazikuwa za bure. Bado Raila anatengeza pesa na hizo votes. So we should blame this mzee. And ndio maana sasa hizi nasema #see not just Ruto must go, but both Ruto and Raila, like the entire system. We need an entire system overhaul of these people. Then kesho, mkumbuke kitu moja. State House haina barabara moja peke yake kama zile village zetu za ushago. Ziko na barabara mingi za kwenda State House. You occupy anywhere. Mimi saizi mimi niko ready. Hadi leo nimeamua kupika mboga kienyeji. Ni kule na ugali nishibe kabisa. ndio kesho tukimbie before tufike hapo breakfast ya status. Unasikia wanapikanga kuanzia 8 hapo hivyo, tukule breakfast huko. Kesho tunafaa cause hata nimeona wameanza kupanga matent huko ndani. Hizo tent ni zetu, tunakaribishwa huko hivyo. We are not going to destroy any property. You're going to use the gates za kuingia state house. You're going to use the door. We are not going to cause any vandalism whatsoever. Sisi tunaenda hapo just to ask for a right, because we told this guy, your cabinet haifanyi kazi, drop them. The guy drops them and picks them. We told this guy, punguza hii kutumia pesa, still wanaharibu pesa. Saizi tumemuingiza Njeve, hajawahi toka Kenya. You guys, if you've not, this guy has always been inside the country. Hajatoka, kumaanisha ametetemeka. To the extent hadi Tuesday niliona washaanza huko Kapsabet ati watu wamepatiwa sijui manini za mbao za jembe wakuja watishie watu huko. And our brothers in Rift Valley, if you see your grandparents, tell them, watu huko Chebarbar, Chepalungu, tell your parents bana, you guys mnabeba hizo majembe na mtu anaenda kuondesha maprado huko nje anawadanganya. Wakati sisi tuko na minerals huko. You guys, you need to look at this Caribbean country. Kuna hizi ni Barbados and Tobago. These guys, they have, wanna share their revenue. And this guy ukienda huko kila siku ni sherehe bana. Huko hivyo Caribbean kila siku ni sherehe because they have money, because they share the revenue. But here, the revenue is for the few chosen families. The Kenyatta's family, now unakuja kupata the Ruto's family. Na ukiangalia sura watu wote hata wakae kukua the, mimi hata siwacha nisiongee mbaya. But Kenya nasema, tomorrow guys, let us stand up in numbers. Remember, our weapon ni maji na kitambaa. Hiyo ndio our weapons. Si hatuna bunduki, hatuna chochote. If indeed au nimesikia sijui Inspector General whatever he is amesema they are going to respect the law, your constitution, wache to protest in peace. I hope they are going to escort us. Hao ndio natufungulia gate hapo tukusema tunataka tukae huko bana. Hao ndio tukiuliza choo iko wapi hapa status wanatuonyesha. That's what we want from the police. Wasianze kutumia marisasi kuwa watu hapa hivi, because hata police akiwa mtu pia akishutua atakufa. So there's no difference. We actually fighting for these police people. Nasikia juzi even their loans hazijalipwa, lakini wanaonyesha wamekatwa kwa mshahara. They are also struggling like us. Si hata hao mapolisi wanaendesha maprado. Si hata hao mapolisi wanakuwa na escort manzi. Wanatumika vibaya. And if there's any NIS here, any police here, msikie. You guys mwache kutumika. Unaona? Because utatumika saizi ulipwe pesa kidogo, someone end up losing their lives. Because we as youth, we are very desperate. Personally, I'm a good example. I dropped out of university, manze. Sija graduate bado. Because of the hard life, you fail to balance between masomo na kutafuta, struggle. But says I've had to go back and back that low degree so that I can come and enlighten my people here. Unaona? We are all struggling. Kila mtu ana struggle saizi. Yani tunasikia tunaumwa sisi wote. Hakuna mtu mwenye saizi anakokwara. So you police bana, mwache kutumika vibaya. We are so done with those ages kina Daniel Arap Moi. And even if you kuangalia watu, they all ended up 6 feet chini. Moi alikufa. So there's nothing special about you being given those guns. Hizo risasi ukuja kushoot watu, hapana. We kuja escort watu. As long as someone is not touching any person's property, you should not shoot at that person. Wewe nyinyi tunataka tuone mnashuta au magunzo wanapatiwa mafimbo huko hivyo, unaona? Hao watu wanakuja wa pikipiki. Hao ndio tunataka tuone mnashughulika mkuwashika. But leave us protest peacefully. Hiyo ndio kitu tunataka. No, we are not going to request. These are demand from you guys. Na tukipata mnakuja bila uniform, we shall treat you as goods. So we shall try to make any way possible to defend ourselves from you guys. Otherwise, tomorrow, guys, tunatokea mapema. Hata tunafaa tukwesindo tunaasha majiko huko State House, by the way. Mapema kabisa. Au makabinet wakikuwa soni wajuenga, kuna watu wako huko State House wanaasha, wengine tumeenda tumepanguza. Yani kesho, mimi kesho tu nataka kwenda State House bana. Kama pale Bangladesh bana. Uliona hadi mtu anachukua tu kuku ya State House bana. Mimi nataka kufanya vitu kama hizo. I want to feel hii sweetness ya our money, hii pesa yetu inaendanga wapi. Otherwise, you guys, let us not lose hope. Let us continue soldiering on. Na kesho is the date we have with the destiny. Thank you, Kowino, so much.
Asante sana MMS. Derek, tunasonga, masaa ni mbaya, watu wanafaa anze kujitayarisha for kesho. Derek. Haya, Derek ni kama yuko. Vincent. Sisikii Vincent. By any chance kuna mtu anamsikia? Afro unamsikia?
No, not hearing him.
Vincent hatukusikii. Afro unaweza pandisha watu wengine pia because naona ni kama tumeexhaust huko 6.
Yes, Kawino, how are you?
Siko poa.
Kesho tukutane ile masaa, tutakunywa chai pale ile hoteli yetu, ama tunaweza kunywa
chai tunakunywa State House bana. Haya, endelea.
Ndo nasema umejua chai yetu tutakunywa mapema, tutakunywa 4:30, so tutakunywa ile hoteli yetu. State House tutakuwa tunaenda tu kukula buffet ya breakfast because it is our taxes. But anyways, hope everyone is okay and you are prepared. Mi hata nilishaacha kujam juu nimejam sana hadi nikasema nikiendelea kasirikia msee nitakuwa chizi. So sahii nimeanza kupiga action ni kuingia streets, na kesho manzee majamaa mtoke in numbers. Mi nataka tu the numbers game ndo itawaka hapa. Msha watch game zozote zenye zina watch, na mnajua watu mita moja ni watu wangapi? Kwa hiyo naweza kuambia time Hull City walikuja kucheza huku na ilikuwa Gor, stadi ilikuwa imejaa watu 60k and above, and how many people were there during that time? Watu walikuwa wamejaa venye watu hutokea hizi machurches maralis. Ndo tunataka tuone kesho numbers, na then nilisema tunataka kuona streets zote zikiwa occupied. Wachana zile vitu tulikuwa tunaenda unapata tunafungiwa pale katikati Moi Avenue tunaishiwa. This time wakijaribu Moi Avenue wanaona Tomboya ni kubaya, wakiona Tomboya Kenyatta ni kubaya, wakiona Kenyatta Mwindi Mbingu ni kubaya, wakiona Kimathi ni kubaya, State House ni kubaya, Haile Selassie ni kubaya, Uhuru Highway haipitiki. Tomorrow we should bring Nairobi to a standstill. Nothing should be happening in Nairobi. Secondly, I want to tell business owners, if you want to help this movement is by you going to the streets na usimame hapo kwa duka yako. We will protect you against any form of vandalism that might be planned against your business. Watu mnaeka na marungu, tutakuwa tunawashika, tunawatandika, because we will now regard them as goons and not people who are So kindly communicate with your people, get notifications earlier on. Si tukikuja hata kama ni license yako utaweka karibu photocopy, iweke, utatuonyesha you are the business owner. Sisi tukikuja hapo tupate hawa magoons, sisi tutawatandika by the way, because they are very notorious in terms of vandalism. Hao ndo wanaendelesha vandalism during this time. They encourage goons, because you can't be fighting a movement where goons wanakuja kuiba and still you umeweka goons. The other thing is boda. Nimeona boda wengi hapa and I've not liked it. Leo nimepita Lang'ata, nilikuwa hizo side za Lang'ata morning before ningi ofisi, and a lot of people are being mobilized, these bodas. Let us make sure tomorrow if it is possible, if they can see light, it will be even fun, because one should act as an example for them to know that 1,000 Kenya shillings is very, very little money to go and betray a whole movement just because you want to please somebody. To paid bloggers, you've tried your best and congratulations. It has been a success on all that you've done, but now we've reached a point where we will be in the streets tomorrow. We are happy. Now it is time for you to watch the fruits of our hands as they manifest. Now to the people of the Republic of Kenya, me today I'm a proud person because I've been going through all the social media apps and I've been very happy. I've been camping on Facebook. I've checked the hashtag Nane. I've checked whatever people are talking about Nane, and I'm happy. I've been on TikTok, the same. I've been on Instagram, the same. I've been here on X, it's the same. And a lot of people have been talking about this. Now, the other point is today nimekuwa grao somewhere. Me wenda training. Every Wednesday evening I try go get fitness somewhere. And I was tumekuwa na almost 300 youths. Kuna wale walikuwa wanacheza ball si ukuwa almost 40 people because of the teams. Then kuna wale wa basketball wanacheza the same pot, the same place, and you know different teams play. And everybody alikuwa pale alikuwa anasema kesho tuko streets mapema Nane. Hata leo ndo nimejua kuimba ile song ya shuka zakayo chini ya mti. Yani leo ndo nimejua because leo ilikuwa tukifunga bao unasikia watu wanaimba hiyo wimbo ya shuka zakayo because teams zilikuwa zinashukishwa. Ukipigwa bao 2 unatoka nje unashuka, so ilikuwa mkipigwa unasikia kwa nini unasumbuka, madeni yote Yesu amekulipia, shuka zakayo chini ya mti. So kesho hiyo ndo song si tutakuwa tunaimba. So guys, tomorrow we are going to fight for this country and this country belongs to us. Now it is time. Mimi naamka mapema kesho na tafuta iko tutapata na ile bezi yetu. Then we will come out. So guys, sleep well, sleep tight, and today I'm a happy man. Kesho we are liberating this country. Thank you.
Chege.
Before Chege kidogo, something is burning kidogo tu before Chege.
Chege, ngoja kidogo, Mkenya kuna kitu inaungua.
Okay. Yes, update. Yeah. These are updates from my end. There are two people who have opened their home. One of the ladies is called Amina. So anasema she can be able to host 3 or 4 ladies kama watakuwa stranded. So kama any ladies wenye wanaweza taka kuhostiwa around Epic Brookhouse, I think it's a good place as well. And another guy is willing to host 5 gays for as far as 1 week, So tafadhali, one is a lady, specifically the lady may request 4 or 5 ladies. The guy are willing to open his own his space yenye anataka host Kenyans, 5 of them for a week. So you can DM. And I had said this, and mkumbuke the guy mwenye anapeana flags anaitwa Paul Giles. I hope I shared that tweet here. I haven't shared it for those wenye watakuwa kitaka flag kesho. So if you have any help that you can offer to Kenyans in these final hours of mobilization, kindly come to the DM. Kama unapeana flags, kama unapeana maji, hata kama unapeana fare, you just come into the DM, alafu I'll be able to amplify that. And kama you're out there abroad and you might want to support, come to my DM, ama DM ya Afrocentric, ama DM ya Kiyoti Songo, and you can be able to see how you're going to support. We are going to support. Hizi tu ni final touches the mobilization. If you are those ladies, if you are 4 or 5 ladies, kindly just kujeni kwa my DM. Someone is willing to host you somewhere at phase 4. So I think that has to be Buru, right? Epic. It's an amazing place. The other guy also ako willing to host, and it was John ako willing to host 5 people. Hii tu aja specify gender. So if uko mahali na uko stranded, kindly kujeni. So yeah, so that will be highly appreciated. So yeah, just come to the DM if you have any help to offer. My DM Afrocentric ama Kiyoti Songo, that will be nini. Anything else, I will keep you guys posted. Hakuna kulala leo. Let's do this.
Thank you Mkenya, and thank you to those 2 amazing Kenyans wenye wameamua kuhost others. Thank you very much. Thank you, asanteni sana. Chege.
Yes, Kowino. Asante sana.
Jambo.
Sijambo bro. Mko salama? Asanteni sana. Afro, Cyprian, Kowino, Wanyama, Mkenya for the updates. You guys are doing an amazing job. 6. Na kila mtu ambaye amekuja kwenye speaker panel, kila mtu ambaye yuko hapa akisikiliza. Today is an amazing day. We are over 4,600. Mtu akichapa tu hiyo hashtag #88 na hashtag Ruto must go kabla tulale, itakaa juu. Ndio by kesho wakati tunaanza the march to State House, ikuwe ina trend worldwide. Guys, one of the reasons why this has been so successful is the pressure in the international circles. Nobody wants to associate with Ruto. Sijui kama mmeona Under Secretary of State mdogo wa waziri wa Foreign Affairs wa America, Blinken, is here in Kenya kuambia Ruto he must follow the constitution, arrest those people who have killed innocent protesters. Of course, a lot of it is showmanism, lakini we love the pressure. People are starting to move away from him. So we keep the pressure by putting the hashtags. Diaspora, major shout out. Leo, as Mkenya will attest, and KOT, and those who are doing mobilization, a lot of support has been received over the week and even up to today. A lot of people have successfully arrived, wamefika salama, wamesaidika na fare na kila kitu, wengine wako njiani. So the dream is going on, and tomorrow we shall achieve success. Tomorrow we shall achieve success. Now, Afro, earlier we had a fantastic session where we discussed our rights. These Subaru boys are goons. All these masked police are goons. And tomorrow we are bringing an end to the impunity of abduction of Kenyans without any action. We have said enough is enough. Law Society of Kenya walikuwa hapa leo. I hope we shall continue to learn our rights, but it is unconstitutional for somebody to conduct an abduction like we have been seeing. We have said as Kenyans, we need to stop. We need to make sure that we make noise, we record whenever we see anybody trying to be abducted. Msikubali mtu yeyote achukuliwe. Msikubali biashara ya Mkenya yoyote ivamiwe. Let us be our brother's keeper. Let us make sure that we are looking out for each other, that we are highlighting any breaking of the law. We are recording so that there is enough evidence, because sababu wanasema hakuna evidence. Let us make sure we give enough evidence for that. We remain peaceful. Our flag, our phones, our water are our shield and defender. Our flag is our shield and defender. So guys, let us keep that in mind. Let us protect each other. Thank you so much for all those people who've opened up their doors for people who are who have arrived na walikuwa natafuta shelter, na tuendelee na moyo huo. Tupendane hivyo tunapendana. This love for our country and for each other is the one that has kept us going. And man, I love everybody. We love to see the spirit, and let's keep the spirit going. Asanteni sana manze. Kowino, mumesema spaces zifungwe. There is a big outcry from people in diaspora. Kesho wakati watu wako streets, nani atakuwa anatupea update since our media has been captured? Who is going to keep us awake? So, I mean, I updated Afro. Let us see how we are going to organize it. Hata kama diaspora wata host mahali, so that people can be checking in and just making sure that we know that things are going well. If there is any incidences, that we highlight them, because the press is quiet. It's dead. Shame on them. Asanteni sana man. God bless.
Koino, just a moment. Koino, just a moment. I want to interject something Chege has said. Chege, me, I just want to tell people wa diaspora. Bwana mgoje tuweke space after tumetoa Ruto pale bwana. These spaces are distractions, and we don't want people to be distracted when we are doing an important and a noble cause. Watu wa diaspora, what you can help us, tweet tomorrow. There's a website Pipi talked about. All Maandamano will be updated, their Maandamano videos and all that. And if you go on my timeline right now, I've just put there a tweet asking Larry Mado where he has reached, so that she should not fail to televise this important historical day. But for spaces, I don't advocate for any space tomorrow. Let it be open that people will be on the streets. Watu wapige hashtags huku nje, kesho tusukume hii hashtag nane trend Twitter, and the same time kwa ground sisi nasi tuna trend tukienda State House. But for spaces itakuwa distractions. Let us avoid any distraction. Any form of distraction itatuweka hii point, wacha ikuwe ngumu. Tukishatoa Ruto by saa 8, hiyo saa 8 na dakika moja after Ruto amesha resign, tutaweka space after asha resign. Kindly, that is my humble submission and opinion. Thank you. If there's anybody who has something else, he can talk about that. Thank you.
Sawa sawa,
Yeah.
it's a question. It's good to know. Watu basi wakae live ndio tukue na updates. So the hashtag, we keep it going live.
What about TikTok?
Yes,
TikTok live?
yes. Pardon,
What
Sush?
about TikTok live? TikTok. What's your TikTok?
Live.
Yeah.
TikTok live kama uko kwa ground pale Nairobi CBD ukionyesha tukimarch kwa State House, ukiwa pale frontline tukionyeshana venye how we are marching to State House, it is allowed. If you are on the streets and you are showing us a TikTok of how sisi tunaenda State House, mimi na Mkenya tuko pale tunaimba shuka zakayo na tuko pale on the frontline, ukitupiga kwa nini tukimarch tunaenda pale kuuliza William Ruto utatoka saa ngapi, hiyo inakubaliwa. Hiyo naye tick.
Hapo sasa.
All right, wacha nishuke nipatie mtu mwingine. Thanks guys. Thank you so much for this space. It's been on for so long and you guys have kept it going. Asanteni sana guys.
Yeah, tuanze kuchukua closing statements. We have 5 minutes left on the clock for us to shut down the space. We want people to get rested. Watu walale. Najua uko na anxiety, but freedom is 5 minutes away. Freedom hour. We are entering the 24 hours that will decide the course of our destiny. Whether we will choke or Zakayo watashuka. So 5 minutes, Kowino. Let's bring it. Let's wrap it up.
Okay. Thank you. Bina Maseno. We'll take 1 minute per person, tafadhali. We get at least 5 people. Bina Maseno, are you there?
Thank you, guys. Am I audible?
Yes, very audible.
Okay. So I had a couple of pointers, but because of limited time, let me just stick to 2 things. Number one, I want to say during the CS interviews, I was very specific on some of the interviews I wanted to listen in. And one of them was for Kindiki. Because of security in this country, because of police brutality, police reforms, because of femicide, because of violence. And I have never felt so scared as a woman about my personal security in this country. When a whole CS is asked about femicide, a whole CS is asked about women's bodies that turned up in Kware, and you do not have a solution. You're not even giving practical steps of what can be done. And you're not even saying that investigations are being done where they are at. And you're speaking to the fact that, there was a breach at the lower level, even with the NSIS, there was a breach, there's an issue. This is very devastating. I don't know I think someone's mic. I mean, that was super sad to say the least. In a country where even urban planning contributes to gender-based violence in this country. Every time for women in this country, even when you just come to town, you have to figure out what you're going to wear because you don't even know where you're going to be harassed. You have to figure out, if I'm going to downtown, how should I dress when I'm going to downtown? If I'm going to buy my products at Mudura so that I can go and sell, I have to figure out what time I need to leave the house because I do not only risk being robbed, I also risk being raped just because I left my house early to go buy my things at Mudura or at Gikomba to come and sell at my kiosk. So I have to leave at dawn when at least kuna light. and someone does not have a solution. He was asked, what do you intend to do to ensure that protesters are safe going forward? And you do not have a solution. You're speaking to, oh, there are policies that need to be clearer. Also, there's something I'm working on that if I'm confirmed as a CS, you cannot, first of all, have a meeting at Parliament. We need to know the numbers. If it's 1,000, you need to be very specific, because you cannot say you're coming 1,000 people and then you come 2 million, the space cannot accommodate. Like, what the heck? Like, what the heck? What the heck? So for me, that was off. Second, my last point, because of time, is the political class has consolidated their power. We have seen even political parties that were quote unquote in opposition have gone to bed with the government. The political class will always consolidate their power. The old regime will always consolidate their power because they have interest to protect. They know that, hey, Nyaji, Ruto knows very well, Nyaji, let me join forces here because I'm not even safe with this Gen Z. Same as the other side. They know, hey, I'm not safe with the Gen Z. So let's come together to protect our interests. How are we consolidating our power even beyond these conversations that we are having? Who are you banding up with in the community where you come from? Because even after tomorrow, we are still going to go back to our communities, the spaces we have in our communities, because we can't even share all our solutions on these particular spaces. We know government is already listening. The bloggers, even those guys who've been paid peanuts tomorrow to disrupt and to even, divert the narratives, they're already here on this call listening. But then in those particular spaces, those people assembly, are you even attending them? When people say Ruto must go, how are you breaking that information down for people to understand that when we talk about this, we just don't mean an individual alone. We mean a behavior. We mean impunity. We mean corruption. What does this hashtag, what does this individual, what does this office represent? How are you breaking down corruption to your grandmother who's so scared for you to come to the streets tomorrow to protest, to tell her grandma, because your grandmother might not understand what 5 billion is. She might not understand what 10 billion is, but she understands it in terms of cows. Tell her we are losing this number of cows in a month, because for her wealth is in terms of, oh my God, how can someone have 1,000 cows? How can someone have 10,000 cows? Like, imagine someone has stolen 100,000 cows, because for her, she conceptualizes wealth in terms of cows. So how are we breaking down this information across other people who are so scared to speak up, who are so silent because they're so scared? How are they understanding that, hey, we just do not mean an individual, we mean a regime that must exit? What does a regime mean? Because it's so easy for people to think it's just one person we're talking about. We're talking about a whole regime exiting, and we need to break that down for us to consolidate our power as citizens, because the old regime will always consolidate their power. They might have the money, they might have the resources, but we do have the numbers. That's the only place we can beat them. We'll never beat them when it comes to resources, because young people are poor, and that is the truth. Young people are jobless. In this country, we have over 1 million graduates every year coming from learning institutions, whether it's colleges, it's universities. The system can only accommodate about 50,000. Where are the rest going? The informal sector is not even safe for people. It's not even regulated. It's even hard for you to even start a business in this country. When you talk about the informal settlements, it's young people who are filling the informal settlements. So I think for me, those two are key pointers for me going forward. And all the best to all of us tomorrow.
Thank you, Bina. Arim, Kingpin, then Kenyan.
Okay. Yeah, Kowino, before they jump in, and I know we are winding up.
Yes, in Kenya.
I'll just give a few updates. Someone else has offered to pay accommodation for 5 people for a whole week. This one is just paying for accommodation. They are not in the country, so they are willing to pay accommodation for 5 people. Someone else in Nairobi has requested, if there are 2 men who are stranded somewhere, like at a offer Mali, somewhere where they can stay. So yeah, thank you. If you need accommodation, kindly reach out to me. When you attack flags as well, kindly reach out to me. And if you are out there, in Nairobi and you can offer accommodation, kindly DM. If you never offer maji kesho, kindly DM. Or if you're outside the country, whatever, just DM and we see how we can be able to continue mobilizing. And thank you, Afro, Cyprian and Kowino.
Thank you, Mkenya. Again, very big thank you to that Kenyan who has overcoming for the protest, for the peaceful protest, for the anti-bad governance protests. Erin.
Yes.
1 minute, please.
1 minute, please. Yes, habari zenu nyinyi wote? Yes, mimi yangu itakuwa tu machache na nitaongea kuhusu waandamanaji kutoka eneo la Githurai. Manzi Githurai tunakapitia. Wale watu ambao wanajua kuhusu Githurai, we go through a lot after the protest. Tunakapitia sana sababu ya kukosa magari. One thing ni kukosa sijui shida iko wapi, sababu anytime maandamano ikishaisha Githurai ndio inakuwa ni kama sasa ndio wanamalizia issue yote. So sijui kama tunaweza hizo facilitation zenye tunaongelelea tunaweza saidia watu wa Githurai aje, sababu nimesikia tukiongea kuhusu sehemu zingine tofauti tofauti, lakini Githurai tunaisahau sana, na Githurai hapa ndio kuna shida kubwa sana. At the end of everything, hapa ndio shinda yote inakuja kumaliziwa.
Aya, Kingpin.
Yo, Wagwan, can you hear me?
Kingpin. Yes, I can hear you. 1
Mine's gonna
minute.
be very short because I even have a very bad bad cold. But one thing that I want to say is that when the universe align, you know, like right now we have the date 8, which is like 8 weeks from our first protest, which is a significant number. For those guys who know how to study waves and patterns, tomorrow is a very, very big day. And when an opportunity shows up, what I like to say is that you have one chance, one shot, and one opportunity. When you miss it, you wait for the next wave. And what you're saying is that we have to make sure this wave, which is starting tomorrow, we are going to ride it till the end. Asante.
Yeah, thank you. Kenya. Kenyan. Kenyan. Kenyan, unanisikia? From namsikia, mimi simsikii. Mkenya unasikia Kenyan?
Evening, unanipata?
Nakupata sasa.
Okay, fantastic. I had connected to my
No, amepatikana. Sorry.
Apologies about that. I had connected to my Bluetooth, but nimerudi. So, first of all, I pay homage to all those that have come before us, the innocent young souls that we've lost, and above all the fighters that have lost, and those that are alive, and we will be marching with tomorrow to State House. I don't wish to say much because it's just a few hours. It's about 4-5 hours into the hour and the time of the day. So mambo ya makarau isiwastue. And why I'm going to say this is because makarau kwanza, these guys usually have a very bad ending at the end of their career, and especially those ones that were very rogue with the people. Why am I saying this? A few years ago, when we had very elaborate investigative journalism in Kenya, and we had a profound, journalist, a very meticulous guy who since joined the politicians, and hata huwezi msikia Muhammad Ali. Those guys traveled somewhere in the western side of Kenya, and they covered the story about an agent. He was a DCI agent, or I don't know, those guys, those special agent guys who was top ranking back in the days, and he's called Seronei or something. And how Seronei ended up now calling out now to the same Kenyans, or the same people that, okay, the same system that he served to wrong, like do articulate, do the assignments very well. He ended up now reaching out to them to help him at a time when his health was in a very bad state. I don't know whether he's still alive, but he leads a very sorry life. This was what the investigative piece unpacked. So I really needed to say that. I also needed to say that tomorrow is aligned, and that let me use this word here. The portal is open, and the portal to take back Kenya, imefunguka. It has been open for some time. So guys, whatever you're saying, you're creating that universe, and we've been creating it, and we are taking it. And if you can see it in your mind, guys, it's achievable. We are marching, we are taking back Kenya, and by 2 p.m., 3 p.m., watu wangu should be starting on a clean slate. So spiritually, we are right, we are guarded, tumeshikilia vizuri. We only need to be right spiritually and mentally. Yo ingine, people, let us not exhaust our energy. And by energy, I don't mean just physically. I mean mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Look at this, guys. It's a few hours to dawn, and we will be traveling before dawn. Before daylight. Yeah. So that means that it's good to actually sink in those thoughts and finesse that rage and courage that we want to bring out tomorrow. Let us allow those thoughts to settle in. Let us allow our range to settle in. And then let the day break. And as it breaks, may the range multiply twice and thrice for 7 times bigger than how we're feeling it. Na si wewe utai-control, na si wewe utaileta. That one is a very divine kind of thing that happens on the inside. So
Kenyan, I've lost you. Mkenya unamsikia? Umeona wewe ukitaka kuongea hivi anapatikana.
I will be surprised mwenye naenda kufungua mic apotee. So simski.
Haya, ni kama Kenyan amepotea. We hope hawajakufikia. Yeah, we need you in the streets. But anyway, nani ataongea mwisho? Pipita, jambo.
Jambo Kowino. How are you, bro?
Talk to us. I'm not okay, but tunapambana.
We say we're okay just to let the conversation proceed, but we are not okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have just logged in here to tell you that today is a very big one. It is the night before the battle. It is the night before the battle, ladies and gentlemen. I know we are in bed and you're wondering if you're going to wake up tomorrow and get to the place you want to be. Don't question yourself. We will be out. Believe in yourself. Be safe. And much above all, when we sit down to look back at all this, we will tell our kids we lived, we came, we saw, we conquered. We have seen it. It is time to conquer it. And it has started here. Let us finish it on the ground. Personally, I am ready. I will be giving out my first updates at 7 a.m. tomorrow from the streets of Nairobi. I will be collecting information as part of my citizen journalists initiative. I have shared a link on my timeline where we will be amplifying what will be happening, because I know tomorrow Legacy Media is planning to play Binti Kiziwi. And since they have planned to play Binti Kiziwi, we will amplify ourselves using this very social media that we have. We will, if you see something and you're afraid to share, send it to me. I will personally share it out there. I have decided I will put my account on the line tomorrow for the sake of citizen journalists. So if you're a citizen journalist, you see something in Githurai, send it to my Telegram. There's a Telegram link I have shared right there on my account. Send it to my Telegram. I will make sure that it gets posted immediately. Make sure we send it to Nyakundi, send it to everybody who has numbers. Big account numbers, we depend on you tomorrow. So today, actually, it's 13 minutes after Nane, ladies and gentlemen. Big accounts, small accounts, whatever you see, post out there. Tomorrow, there is no media for us. This is one thing you need to know. There is no media for us today. We are the media. So if you see something, make sure you put it out there so that you can help everybody. And if you are arrested, make sure you amplify, you say it faster. And if you see somebody has been arrested, make sure you amplify it as loud as possible. Let us be your brother's keeper tomorrow. And when we conquer all of this, we'll sit back and look and say we did it. Thank you so much, everybody. We will discuss more after the time of talking has ended for me. It's time for action.
Thank you, PP. Thank you, guys. We are just winding up. And by the way, if any of you thinks maybe my microphone, me, I've thrown nose like hata sijakuwa na all those requests, so I can't even see some of your requests. Again, ukirequest microphone sana and you see maybe haiko approved, you try canceling the request, refresh your app and request again, because sometimes it doesn't show up on this side. So unaweza fikiria umenyima microphone or a chance kukuja kuongea, but it is not the case. Yeah, so Mkenya, any updates? Mkenya ako jikoni bado.
No, siko jikoni. Ni vile just attending to vitu kadhaa hapa. So the updates that are there ni that all those guys wenye umeni DM unaona sija reply, I'm going to attend to those DMs because most DMs kuna watu wenye wanakuja wanataka accommodation, kuna wengine pia wameoffer, another person has offered another 3 slots za accommodation. So yeah, and also other people who are reaching out from different parts of the world when wako willing to help. I'll try to connect everyone. So yeah, so if you can offer accommodation and you're in Nairobi and you are willing to host several people, kindly DM me. If you can offer support here, hizo 2 flags, you can offer support here, t-shirts, you can offer all those supports zenye unaweza offer, hata kama ni kutuma fare and everything, DM. Even if you're outside the country, we DM so that we can make it a success tomorrow. And it's not just tomorrow, it is for the rest of our years as Kenyans. Tomorrow it's really a big thing for us. Kesho ni Independence Day. You guys you will know how it feels to enjoy the independence. I mean, I don't know how they felt Mau, but I know how we will know how it feels tomorrow. Thank you.
Asante sana Mkenya. Sush, tunaenda. Masaa ni mbaya. Watu wengine wameanza kuoga, wengine wanataka kulala kawana hawa.
Yeah man, hata nilikuwa nimesahau niko kwa speaker. Yeah, what I'll say is watu wa show up kesho. Kubwa ni kukanyaga. Hata sisemi leo kanyaga kubwa ni kukanyaga. Forward ever, backward never. Make sure your statement is heard worldwide, not Kenya only, but worldwide. Make the world will hear. For that, I will say sitasema good luck kwa jilio nyumbani. Nitawaambia salute. Shikilieni chonjo.
Kowino, have we lost you? Kowino.
I think
6,000
Kowino dropped.
closing statements. 6.
Oh, mi Afro unaweza nisikia?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, mi nitasema hivi majamaa, tuamke in numbers, tuamke mapema. History ya kwanza maandamano saa 6 na saa 7 imetucost, so this time ni mapema ngwari. Hii mambo tumesema hapa sasa, kesho tunaiweka into actions. Nauliza Larry Mado if will be available to televise this. This is important. Mnaweza pitia.
Yeah, but I'm back. Our 6 ashamaliza. MMS. Closing remarks tukiendaga. Okay, I can see someone here. It's Diablo. It's Diablo. Ben Wangok. Majina. Diablo. Haya, reconnecting. Kingpin.
Yeah, I just spoke though like a few minutes ago. Yeah, but
Okay.
I think we have tried our best. Tumefanya a lot of mobilization, I think, on the other side of TikTok with some few messages here and there, and I think we played our part. So we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you. Cyprian. Kwa hapa bro? Cyprian. Yeah. Cyprian anakaa kwa mbali pia. Mi all I can say majamaa, kesho tafadhali, kama ni kutokea ikuwe ni mapema. Isifike saa 5 ndio unaanza hapa kutweet ati na wasee wako wapi? Saa 5 unaanza kuuliza watu wasee wako wapi? Ndio unaamka. Another thing, wananchi sisi hatuna bunduki. We don't have guns. So our strength lies in our numbers, like venye imesemwa hapa several times. Our strength lies in our numbers. So tusipotokea in numbers, they'll eventually overpower us. So tutokea in numbers, hivyo ndio venye hawezi tushinda. Hivyo ndio venye tutawin. On the 25th of June.
Kowino, kamwisho. 3 ladies.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, 3 ladies. Kumepatikana a place for 3 ladies to sleep. Extra other place for 3 ladies to sleep. So as we are closing the space now, there are 20 slots of accommodation that are available, and 4 of them are 7 of them are for the ladies. Hii ingine haku specify, but he was a guy, so I would assume so. And there are also 5 others. So it's coming around 20 slots. They are available. Kama utakuwa stranded or anything. And remember, someone has offered to pay for a whole week. The other guy who's also hosting 5 is also hosting for a whole week as well. So yeah, so kindly DM. And also, yeah, so if you are a lady, you are a man, kindly DM. There is a slot for you to sleep. Me, all I want to tell you is tupatane kesho. That's the most important thing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you Mkenya for hizo updates, na I think wewe utaendelea tu kuupdate watu hata kama watu wamelala, hata kama space imeisha, because it is very important that you keep doing that job. Thank you so much Mkenya. Yeah, like I was saying, sisi our strength lies in our numbers. Tafadhali, our strength lies in our numbers. So tusipotokea wengi, on the 25th of June, the finance bill protest, the Occupy Parliament protest, it was only successful because we came out in large numbers. If we repeat the same tomorrow, this one will be achieved as well. So tafadhali, tafadhali, tafadhali. Number one, I'll say this, ask yourself, are you scared? If you are scared, you are ready, because being scared is a trigger number one. Hiyo inakuactivate. Kama uko scared kidogo hivi, you are worried, then you are just ready for tomorrow. So kitu isikudanganya ati venye umeogopa saa ukae nyumbani. Hapana, hiyo ni trigger ya kwamba uko ready. So don't just stay at home ukitaka watu wengine wakutengenezee nchi. This country belongs to all of us. Na we all have the responsibility of fixing it once and for all. Yeah. And after that, tukisha succeed, we will know what next. Until then, tutokee kesho. That is all I can say. Na mkuwe na vitambulisho vyenyu tafadhali, please carry your national IDs pia. It is very important that unaweza kuwa recognized as a Kenyan with that national ID in case of anything. In case of anything. Hata hiyo ID tunaweza sema wewe ndio kuwe preso kesho. Unajua huwezi jua. We will know that tomorrow. Tukishatoa uwezo mwingine. Afro.
Thank you so much, Kowino, for assisting in holding up the space and running the space and facilitating the space. Also, thank you, Cyprian, for being here since morning and just supporting. I want to thank Pipita too, coming through. Every speaker, thank you, Mkenya Daima. Thank you, KOT, for running logistics behind the tent, making sure that everyone is getting to Nairobi safely, getting that accommodation, getting transportation. It is when we come together as Kenyans like this is when we can have change in the country that we so much love. Thank you too much everyone who has spoken, who has taken the time to take the microphone to share their reasons, their mindset on what they think on the Kenya that they want, their dissatisfaction in corruption, in the bad governance, in their calls for transparency, in their calls for accountability in the government. Thank you so much for taking time to press and inject civic education into the masses, whether it was offline or online. Thank you so much, especially in this space today. We are grateful. And here we are. We have come now to the last day, but also the first day of massive action of going to the streets, and we are going to stay there. Let's be very clear, because the government propaganda people the bloggers who have been paid by the government are waiting for us to lale tu kidogo waanze kuskuma propaganda zao. Let us be very clear, we are going there. Rendezvous CBD, march to State House. Nothing is changing. We are going to meet with Ruto himself, and we're going to talk to him, and we're going to fire him. The air is thick with change. The air is so pregnant with change, and the political class of the day cannot midwife the new Kenya that is needed. Tomorrow, 8/8, is the delivery day, and you have been tasked. Destiny has chosen you to midwife the new Kenya. I hope and pray that you're planning to be on the streets tomorrow to bring about the new change. And like every pregnancy, it's going to be bloody. It could get bloody. It could get messy. But we are determined for a new Kenya. Most of us feel like we're already dead, with no opportunities, graduated, no jobs, can't pay debts and loans, high interest rates, hospitals without medicine, broken infrastructure. We have the resources, but a few families of the political class have chosen to take all the country's wealth and hide it abroad, buy residential houses and homes in Dubai and Europe, flaunt their fragrant watches of 15 million on TV. Enough is enough. Tomorrow we are done talking. There'll be no spaces. We are going to come back when the job is done. So guys, God is with us. our cause, our organization, our movement is pure, and God will bless us. God bless us. God bless Kenya, and I hope to see each one of you alive. Viva the revolution! Viva Kenya! Nice to see each one of you tomorrow. Get rested, drink water. Kesho, we go to battle. Mbarikiweni. As we close the space, I'll play the national anthem.